to The Executive's View, the sports podcast where the stakes are high and the debates are fierce. Please welcome your host, Aaron Sirius Simmons, alongside co-host Barry DeVille Jordan. Each week, we bring you into the boardroom where the elite minds of sports converge. From the gridiron strategies to the business behind the ball, we tackle the hard-hitting questions and give you an insider's perspective. So pull up a chair and join us at the table where champions are made and legends are born. This is The Executive's View. Let's get down to business.
Welcome to The Executive View. I'm your host, Aaron Sirius Simmons, and we are the view from on top, man. It's a pleasure to be with you guys this evening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with the executives in the boardroom, and I do appreciate that. You guys know how to do this by myself, man. I got a slew of brothers ready to chop it up and talk everything sports. Welcome to my co-host, Barry DeVille Jordan. How are we doing this evening, sir?
Villain in the house, man. I hope everybody can feel me with no hands, man. Let's go. Let's get to work, man. Let's go.
We got a lot to talk about, man. I ain't gonna waste nobody's time, man. I got Larry in the building. What's going on, Larry? How we doing this evening, sir?
Yo, what's up, fellas? You know, it's always good being in the boardroom with everybody. Welcome back, Uncle Chandler. Welcome up. What's up, Steve? What's the deal?
What's going on?
Well, he gave him the intro himself, man. Steve Black, Zach Morris, man. Lazar, what you know, that's Black Zach in the building, man. What's going on, my guy? How we doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing all right. Y'all didn't like my hat last week, so do y'all like my hat this week?
Actually, I do not. I'm going to take that off, too.
Okay.
I think we need to take him off camera. We need to take him off camera.
I'm taking
him
off
y'all
camera.
didn't like my hat I wore last week, so I was like, oh, you know what? I won't wear Astros hat this week. I'll wear a hat that maybe the guys will like. So I'll just...
Well, I mean,
You
your
got
boy Larry,
jokes.
man, Larry over there wore an Astros hat. We ain't going to talk about that. He should put a broom on the thing. But shout out to the homie Chandler in the building. Chandler, what's going on, my guy? How we doing this evening, sir? It looks like Chandler's a little preoccupied. He on mute. He'll let us know when he's ready to come back in the building, man. But I ain't going to waste nobody's time, man. Wanted to dive right into some topics and some information, man. MLB season kicked off. Week 1 is officially in the books. And I wanted to kind of see how you guys felt. I mean, I know there's a lot of games on. A lot of teams kind of got off to some hot starts. Some teams not so much. I got 2 Astros fans in the building. Let me know how you guys felt, man. Larry, talk to me, my guy.
Oh, man. So, you know, first things first, you know, I got started the sweep. I mean, the bullpen failed us nothing away from the Yankees. We knew what the Yankees was going to present. Getting through that lineup was, you know, monstrous. When I looked at, you know, the head-to-head matchup, I didn't think it was going to be a sweep, but, you know, it happens. It's early in the season. As Astros fans, you know, we don't play for April baseball. We play for October baseball. I will have to tip my hat to Rendon. He did redeem us last night with that no. I think right now my early season outlook is some shockers. I mean, you know, I don't put too much into week 1, but you know, of course, who saw these Tigers being 4-0? I didn't. I can put it like that. You know, who saw the Orioles taking 2 L's? But you know, we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's still early. We're still early in the season. You know, Pirates and Brewers came out the gate swinging, and we already knew what the Dodgers was going to do. I'm glad to see Yokomoto. He came back and pitched pretty good in second start. But yeah, it's still early. I'm not going to put too much stock into nothing right now.
I feel you, man. Chandler, I wanted to give you the opportunity to say what's up, man, and talk a little bit about what you saw with week 1 in the books for the MLB season.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't realize I was still muted. I was just over here babbling to myself, apparently. Hi, everybody. Well, that's nothing new, though. I talk to myself all the time. But no, I expected Detroit and Pittsburgh to be better this year because there's too much talent on both of those teams, especially the Tigers. There's way too much talent on that team, on that roster in the minor leagues for that team to be this bad, to be as bad as it was last year. So AJ Hinch should be on notice. Listen, we ain't trying to have that. In Pittsburgh, they've been slow on the come, but they've allowed those young players to grow. Okay, Brian Hayes, I think, is finally figured out his swing. He's figured out who he is as a player. I expect Pittsburgh, honestly, to challenge for a wild card all season. I thought Baltimore would kind of, yes, early, but I expected Baltimore to not come out the gate like they did last year, like a house on fire, because it's easy to be the hunter. It's not as easy to be the hunted. Playing with expectations is hard for young players sometimes. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're gonna be what they are. But I like what I'm seeing from a lot of these teams. I like what I'm seeing from Cincinnati. I like what I'm seeing from Detroit. Kansas City isn't over the season. You know what I'm saying? They won some games. So for me, a lot of the young teams I think they're starting to show the talent that they have and that they can actually win.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see. You mentioned it a little bit ago about the young teams kind of getting out the gates hot. But I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, man. Villa, man, talk to me, my guy. Week 1 is in the books. How you feel?
Yeah, no, listen, obviously the Yankees, going to Houston, where I thought they might get 1 or 2 games, maybe, get a split. They got a sweep out there. It's not an easy place to get a sweep. So, respect to the Astros. But yeah, like Larry said, that bullpen failed them. The starting pitching was pretty good. It was the bullpen that kind of let off the games at the end, and the Yankees, grinded out some wins and were pretty impressive doing so. Soto is as good as advertised for the Yankees. I think that's one thing that I noticed, obviously, from spring training and then the first week, doing it in the field, doing it with the bat. Yankees trending to 162-0. It's the trend right now, right? That's the trend. but what's good? I agree with you guys. I like what I'm seeing from the Tigers. The Brewers getting a sweep in New York, just the same old Mets. Pittsburgh doing their thing, obviously, but with the Brewers, it wasn't impressive. But like the Mets, their stars getting off to a cold start. Francisco Lindor just cannot buy a hit. Brandon Nimmo can't get a hit. These are guys that you're relying on, especially Lindor. He hasn't really gotten off to a good start in New York, and to get off to a slow start this season is not going to help his case. So kind of disappointing with that. But the Dodgers are going to Dodger. Glasson out looked good when he had 8 strikeouts in his game. So I think one thing that surprised me was the first game from Yamamoto. Got kind of hit around a little bit. I think he settled down his next start. But that first start, I think it was in Japan, right? That he just got. Yeah. He didn't last very long, so that was kind of surprising. But like you guys said, it's 1 week, 1 start. Everything will balance out. So, just looking forward to the season and see how everything shakes out.
I feel you, man. Steve, man, I'm gonna throw it at you, my guy. Week 1's in the books. I don't know of too many people outside of yourself that's more excited about baseball than the gentleman sitting here. But talk to me, my guy, man. Week 1, the birds are chirping, the hot dogs are smelling good, man. We out here. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, we're on track for the in the NLCS, the Pirates and Dodgers, like we all predicted. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Yankees and the Tigers in the ALCS, like we all predicted. But the youth movement, the young teams showing improvement. I'm very familiar as an Astro fan with AJ Hinch. He's starting to kind of put his fingerprints all over this roster and kind of do some of the things that he did in Houston as, a young team that kind of needed some direction and some guidance and stuff like that. So I like what they're doing in Detroit. Of course, the Reds have become our unofficial second team, just like they got out of the gate pretty good. They're pretty solid. The Mets will be fine. I believe the Mets will be fine. I think, again, they got some stuff to work out, but I think the Mets will be fine. The Cardinals are in the basement where they belong, and I hope they stay there. What else? Again, I don't want to get too high and too low with what's going on now. It's like, Blanco's pitching a no-hitter last. I mean, a no-hitter last night for the Astros, which was much needed because it's like the less we see of that bullpen, the better for the Astros. But we shouldn't have to have like a guy throw over 100 pitches just to keep from the bullpen. Which again, it's like the bullpen as a whole hasn't been bad. I mean, Hader was really good, until he got touched up a little bit. I mean, Abreu, these guys. I mean, there's talent in that bullpen. I don't know exactly what's going on, but we'll see. Like, again, it's the first week of the season. I'm just excited to see baseball in all ways, shapes, or form. The cream always rises to the top. So it's just like, I feel like, teams like the Astros, teams like the Mets that are kind of struggling. I think, again, we'll see. What I do want to bring to attention with baseball is Aroldis Garcia. That man is on that Barry Bonds stuff, man. It's like, have you seen this guy? It's like his head is humongous. He's all swole, look like Popeye or something like that. I just want to just put it out there. Like, I mean, I need that man to get a drug test. I mean, he's been hitting the cover off the ball. It's like, no love lost for the Rangers for me. And it's like, I mean, is it sour grapes? Yeah, a little bit. But it's like, man, like they showed him roid raging the other night, when Maiden hit him. And it's just like, man, calm down, Mr. Garcia. But it's like, other than that, it's like, I mean, I'm just glad baseball is back. And I just can't wait to see how this moves forward. It's amazing. Like, baseball's back, and that's enough for me.
Well, let me ask you, Astros fans, this question. Both of you gentlemen mentioned the bullpen being a significant issue, especially in that series versus the Yankees. Was it your bullpen, or again that Yankee lineup? There are no soft spots in that Yankee lineup. So, did you just run into a superior hitting ball club, or that bullpen for real needs some work?
Larry, I'll let you answer that question.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna start like this. I said it before, and I said it in the summary, that good pitching always beat good hitting. That's just rule number one of baseball. Good pitching always beat it. It's early in the season. The Astros bullpen right now is not going to be what the Astros bullpen looks like later in the season. Some of those starters that are coming back, some of those people that are starting right now are going to get moved to the bullpen. So the people that's doing setup, people coming in sixth inning, all that stuff, it's going to look totally different, when you get to, later in the season. And I think it's a product of both. The Yankees hitters getting through that lineup, it's murderer's row. But where that bullpen is at right now and where they will be is not the same, because you can get to the sixth and you got Abreu coming in, and then seventh you got Presley, if Presley can pitch 2 innings, or and then you'll get to Hader, and now those starters they can pretty much go 5 or 6 innings, and then it's like we got arms for days. So I think it's a little bit of both. But Steve, I want to hit you here, and I may have to reach out to some of my contacts that's in the music industry. I need ESG to put in a remix and tell Rafael Montero we need our money back. He's
I mean, it's crazy. It's like the only thing I want to add, and I mean, I guess I'll answer the question. I mean, look, we laugh, we joke, it's a robbery and stuff like that back and forth. It's like this Yankees lineup is really good, and the more times you have to go through that lineup, the more likely it is they're going to get a hit. That's just baseball. We just on Sunday Night Baseball, it's like I was watching the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and it was one of the things was like, with this Dodgers lineup, they got the Cardinals have to go through this lineup one more time, and then look what happened. Bottom of the 8th inning, Dodgers drive a couple runs home, they win the game. So it's a thing where, like, with teams like the Yankees, teams like the Braves, teams like the Rangers, who I mentioned, it's like the more times you have to go through that lineup, the more pitches these guys see, the more likely they are to like catch one. So it's like, again, so it's like, taking nothing away from the Yankee lineup. It's just the Astros bullpen has some stuff to sort out. I mean, but I'm not going to sit up here and act like the Yankees lineup isn't phenomenal. I mean, it's like they're going to score a lot of runs. They're going to do this to a lot of teams, not just the Astros. They're going to make a lot of teams' bullpens look bad late in games. So I don't take really too much, from it, because, I mean, this is not something that is a blip on the radar. This is something that, like I said, the Yankees are going to do this a lot. They're going to do this to the Orioles bullpen. They're going to do this to the Blue Jays bullpen. They're going to do this to the Mariners bullpen. They're going to do it to a lot of teams. So it's like, I mean, like, what can you do? You know, it's just it's baseball, baby. You know.
Well, I mean, honestly,
I'm gonna say this. I don't know who's stealing more money, Montero or Ben Simmons, because both of them are like basically.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, yo, first and foremost, leave Simmons alone, man. He got my last name, man.
That's why we coming after him, man. Them damn Simmons, they don't pay up. They don't pay up.
Look,
that's a poor investment.
No, man. That guy, he's literally ever since he got his money, his ERA didn't balloon like crazy, and like they keep throwing him out there thinking that he's gonna rebound, and it's like he got his money and he's just like, all right, I'm done, I'm good.
Yeah, he's not gonna. I think the thing I see with the Astros bullpen is you got Hader, and I think that's your key, right? But now you need Presley. Yeah, I think he's accepted that setup role, but I think he needs to be comfortable in that role. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's different coming in, knowing that you're going to start an inning coming out of the bullpen in the ninth, and then going from that to maybe you have to start in between an inning in the seventh or eighth. So I think once he gets his footing in there, I think everything will settle for that bullpen in Houston. I mean, I like Presley, but I like him better in high pressure situations, like in the ninth inning. In the eighth inning, I don't know if he's comfortable yet. It didn't look like he was comfortable, you know? So that was one thing I saw, but I agree with Zach. Like, listen, what a difference. And Chandler and I have been screaming about it. Series 2, getting a left-handed bat in that Yankee lineup. Yes. And then that's the perfect left-handed bat in that lineup. A guy that sees a lot of pitches, those that can spit on a strike, a la Don Mattingly or Wade Boggs or Paul O'Neill back in the day. And I mean, that base hit that he got against Hader in the ninth was a perfect at bat. Spitting on pitches that a lot of people would chase, got a high fastball that was slightly out of the strike zone, just flipped it into left field for a base hit and got to go ahead and run. I mean, like watching him, his at bats is like must see TV for me. Like you want to watch Aaron Judge because you know something might happen, but if you're a fan of baseball, you love watching Soto hit, right? So that lineup is long. Cabrera wasn't even supposed to play, right? I think Birdie was supposed to be in the lineup, and he's just smacking the ball around. DJ LeMahieu's not healthy yet. He's still dealing with that injury to his foot. That lineup is going to get going. But to me, I mean, the most impressive lineup and the most scary lineup is obviously in LA. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. The Yankee lineup is tough, but I don't know anybody that wants to go through that LA lineup. I mean, Mookie Betts is, I mean, he's gotten off to a hot start. And if he gets going, and then you got Freeman, who's a brilliant left-handed bat. I mean, that lineup is a lot of trouble for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Again, knee-jerk reaction at week 1, with week 1 in the books. But I wanted to take the temperature and see what you guys thought. You know, 4 of the 5 of us sitting here did the prediction aspect, which is now on social media. But I wanted to go right back to you, Villain. I say the Astros fans for last. We had our first no-no of 2024. Again, if you listen to the 2 Astros fans in the building, a very, very, very much needed no-no for a team that was kind of leaking oil out the gates. Talk to me about what you saw and how you felt this kind of helped elevate the Astro situation, so to speak. They're currently winning right now, 1-0, playing a game as we speak.
They needed that win, man. Like it's one thing to lose a series at home to a good team like the Yankees, but to get swept in a 4-game series, that hurts. Like it's a different kind of hurt. 4 games at home is tough. So they really needed that win. I know the Mets, you know, obviously my dad, rest in peace, you know, he was a Met fan and raised me as a Met fan until I rebelled. But like the Mets only had like 1 no-hitter, right, in their history, Johan Santana. And he was never the same after that, right, Chandler? Like never the same. And that's 1. This Astro team has 7 no-hitters in the last freaking 10 years. It's
this
ridiculous.
is what they do. This
is what they do. And not to mention they had the Nolan Express. You know what I mean? Like and Scott, right? Mike Scott used to give you like that Astro team, like, you know, like it's like, oh no, all right, yeah, great, whatever. Yeah, just another one. Yeah. You know, it's hilarious, but like it's funny. Like some teams haven't even thrown one yet, and these guys throw it like every other year. Like it's like, we'll work one in this year. Don't worry about it. Just
every 6 months they throw one. You know, God, I can't stand them.
Crazy.
But Chandler, talk to me, man. This no-hitter yesterday came at the perfect time for an Astros team that, you know, started out the gate kind of slow. They're currently winning this game versus the Blue Jays right now at the top of the sixth. How you feel, man?
I'm happy for the young man. You know, he's 28 years old and finally made his first time making a major league roster. You know, and so I'm happy for him. He looks to be another good arm. I don't know what they do in that damn scouting department there, but they can find pitching. You know, they can find some damn pitching. They might not be able to get the outfielders right, you know, strong guys like that, but they can find a pitcher and they can find a catcher. You know, two of the most important positions on the field. But I think that obviously, it was, as everybody says, they needed it, but not just to break the losing streak or anything else. They needed some energy. They looked like they had absolutely no energy. You know, they looked like a team that was in the last week of spring training. Like, man, can we just get this over with? You know, you guys are going, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. That's how they looked. And I think what that can do is it can energize the team and it can make some guys sit up and be, oh, hey, well, we're supposed to be winning games. Because they looked flat the entire series. They looked flat. Again, the Yankees did what they were supposed to do. They took advantage of opportunities. But that didn't look like the Astros team. You know, to me, it didn't look like – actually, it looked like a team that was in last week of spring training. And maybe it was just a hangover. You know, you need that first week to get over, whatever. But I want to see what they do with this kid about his third start. I don't care about the second start. I want to see him in his third start. Because the third start is going to tell a tale. If he pitches a good game in his third start, they're going to have some questions to answer when some of the pitchers come back because you ain't going to be able to get him out of that rotation. So that's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, man. Again, I got to tip my cap to this young man. Give honor where honor is due. He really pitched a hell of a ball game yesterday. Gentlemen, you guys spoke about it a little bit, you know, in the previous segment. Did you, either one of you guys, want to kind of lament on your man throwing a no-no? You were shushing us in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Bad juju. You know,
yeah.
Talk to me, my guy.
As much as you try to mention it, you know, it's like you know we don't talk about no hitters when a no hitter is going on. You know, so I had to shush you several times last night. It's like we don't do that. We don't talk about you know better than that. You know, you know better than that. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna keep rehashing like what everybody's saying. I mean, because the truth is, like, do you have must-win games in the first week of the season? Not really, but man, that was a good win. That was a win that can get things, you know, kind of getting back on the good foot as they're winning right now against the Blue Jays. But something that Chandler said is correct. It's like, you know, I'm watching the game like, guys, y'all know these games count now. You know, like spring training is over. These games count. You know, they just look flat. They look lifeless. It's just like, I like I said, cream rises to the top. They'll be fine. At least I hope so. And then a big thing is when, you know, again, Verlander's the ace of your staff, but when guys like Garcia and Urquidy, these guys come back and are healthy, and they should be healthy around middle of June, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what the Astros rotation looks like. It's going to look totally different a month or so from now. So I hope this kid can continue like this momentum into his next start, because it's very tough. Like you pitch a no-hitter and then you come out, the expectations are high, and I just hope the kid can stay focused and not go out there and like kind of maybe feel himself a little bit like, well, last time I threw a no-hitter, you know. But it's cool, first one of the season. The Astros, like, I mean, no hitter's a thing that like become commonplace. I mean, they threw a combined no hitter in the World Series a couple years ago, which is like crazy to think. And they've thrown they've thrown more combined no hitters than than teams have thrown actual no hitters. It's crazy to get 4 or 5 guys together to like no hit a team. I feel like that's crazier than just one guy who's locked in, to like just mow a team down. So, well, like I said, congrats to Blanco. It was cool. It was electric. I would do the same thing for a Yankee pitcher. If he was pitching or not, I would keep my mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? Because like some things are bigger than rivalries. This was a good moment for baseball as a whole last night. No hitters are exciting. It's fun, it's cool, and I enjoyed it, of course.
I figured you would. Larry, you the one that kind of tipped it off. Wanted everybody to tune into it or whatever the case may be, man. Talk a little bit about it before we press on and move on to something else.
Hey, I just mentioned it because I wanted everybody to tune in. I didn't want to jinx it. And if you notice, I got quiet after I said, hey, this dude's over here throwing a no-hitter. I got real quiet because I know.
I was not quiet. I was not quiet. I was trying to.
You're trying to ruin everything.
I didn't care if the Astros won. I didn't care if the Astros won. I just wanted to see Steve's reaction if I mentioned it, and then all of a sudden, a drag single happened or whatever case. My man Steve would have came down the VA.
You know what?
Good thing Angel Hernandez wasn't calling the game. He might have.
He might have. That
ruined that kid's career. I don't care what anybody says. That ruined that kid's career, and it's just a shame. Like Galarraga deserved better than that. That ruined. Every time I think about that, it gets
triggered.
My man triggered.
Regardless if it's Astros, that's like sprinkles. But if I see a good pitcher that's throwing a no hitter, I don't care what team it is. No hitter's a no hitter. And like Steve said, combined no-hitters are like really amazing. You rarely see them. But, the thing that I really was impressed with last night with that entire game was he was dealing. His accuracy was on point from inning 1 through inning 9. And I'm hoping that it was the game that they needed. Like you said, they were still kind of, I think that it's not that they stuck in spring training mode. They just stuck in that mode where they know, hey, we're not going to be the same in a couple of months. We know how Bregman is. He starts the season slow. He's doing his usual Bregman. I think it was more that, but I'm hoping that game will be the game that they say, okay, now these games count. We got to play. Abreu made an amazing catch to save the game.
Yes.
Amazing catch. I would have been mad if that ball would have got by him and that would have broke up the no-no. But, Abreu, he came out and he did it. Now, the one thing I will say is I hope this does carry over because now when we do get some of these starters back, how is that going to look? I know Garcia, they're saying June, July, he'll be back. He's pitched out the pen before. Hunter Brown's pitched out the pen before. I think Hunter's more of a guy that they don't want to see him go back to the pen. But if it comes down to it, it comes down to it. When you look at a lot of these teams and you look at somebody like a Rendon, the Astros have pitching for days. The Astros got pitching that other teams would kill to have. And I think I've kind of mentioned it before is are we going to keep all of this pitching because we know injuries do set in, or are we going to wheel and deal because it's going to be that one team that's needy at trade deadline and need an arm. And I hope we rob them blind.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting, man. I as a Yankee fan, I crave pitching because we seem to focus more at the plate. But again, I gotta tip my cap to Blanco for throwing that no yesterday. Another couple games. Talk to me, dog.
I will chime in and say this: the Astros have so much pitching that you mentioned the Yankees. You guys stole Garrett Cole from us, and Charlie Morton's pitching his butt off for the Braves. They were Astros. That's how much pitching we got. We really let guys.
Here's the issue with Garrett Cole. Okay,
the
brother ain't been this. Well, but the brother ain't been the same since he left Houston. So
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
I do.
I mean, he's got a Cy Young. Did he win a Cy Young in Houston?
Yeah. Even I thought he did.
Nah.
Did anyone want to Houston?
Verlander.
I mean, he got a chip. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing.
He got his bag, and then
he did not get a chip in Houston. I know this because the 2019 Astros team was the best Astros team I've ever seen in my life. And Howie Kendricks, that should have been a foul ball, hit the foul ball.
Here he go. With the national joint.
We can move.
No, talk to me, dog. Talk to me about it.
I don't want to talk about Astros history. Nobody cares.
No. This isn't like Astros live or whatever like that. So we've talked enough about the Astros. I could talk about the Astros all night, but I know you guys rather not.
Hey, I just thought it was amazing that we literally got two guys that we just let them walk who are number one starters on other teams.
Yeah, no, Charlie Morton. I felt like I felt like he ran his course in Houston. I felt like they didn't want to bring him back. I thought he had a good playoff run before he went to the Braves, but I felt like I knew you guys had arms coming up that were in the bullpen that you were going to move into the starting lineup, and you didn't have to pay more. That was, I think it was a more of a money deal than anything.
Oh yeah, definitely money.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you didn't have to pay him. So, but Atlanta, they made out. They got a good pitcher, and they got a hell of a staff. And Garrett Cole, I disagree, seriously. I think he's been a pretty good Yankee. I think he had that rough year. I think that first year, living up to expectations and the money. But I think since then he's been pretty lights out. I mean, I still look at that 1-0 game he threw in Houston last year as like that was a huge game, even though it didn't go anywhere. But every fifth day last year, he was guaranteed to keep that Yankee team in a game, no matter what. So, I mean, that's what you pay him for, to be that stopper. So, I think he's been fine. I think he needs.
Has he earned his pinstripes though? Has he earned his pinstripes yet?
CC Sabathia earned his pinstripes the first year he got there, and I think that's the expectation a lot of pitchers have. Like Yankee fans have for pitchers when they come in. We could say what we want about AJ Burnett. AJ Burnett pitched pretty well in that 09 World Series, right? But then you got guys that come in afterwards as hired guns that didn't earn their pinstripes, like Randy Johnson, right? Or Pavano or whoever you want to put into that class. So I think Yankee fans understand how good he is, and I think we're going to understand for the next 2 months how valuable he is in that starting rotation. But to say he earned his pinstripes yet, you got to win a chip in New York.
Yeah, win a chip. You know what I mean?
Andy Pettit's not one of the greatest pitchers of all time, but he's got 4 chips. David Cone, beloved in New York, he's got a chip.
What's the funny thing?
I don't like Roger Clemens, but he's got a chip. You know what I mean?
The funny thing, like
it's Roger.
For me, we just.
He said George's box.
I will entertain.
One time for Susan Waldman losing her mind.
I would entertain the idea of Garrett Cole getting his pinstripes if the Yankees make a World Series.
Yeah,
I will entertain that because
if he pitches in there too, right? Serious?
If he pitches, but right now Yankees.
No, but I mean, like if he's dominant in the playoffs, right?
I will entertain it. I'll entertain it.
Yeah, I think you got if he. I mean, because you look at that game, and Shannon remembers, right? That game against Boston where he was hurt. We didn't know about it. He didn't have a good playing game, and he got hit around in Fenway.
He got rocked.
And it came out afterwards that he was hurt, and we didn't know that. But at that point, we're like, we're paying this guy all this money, and he can't get a game in Fenway. It was ridiculous, right? So I think
if he has a stupid thing. That whole thing is stupid. I'm not calling you stupid. That's stupid. Guess what? Guys have bad games. Sometimes they have in the playoffs. Sometimes they have in the World Series. So to say something, this guy he can't do something because he had a bad game. And anybody who watched him pitch that day and didn't realize he was hurt, don't know what damn thing about baseball.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with you, Chandler. Like I was disappointed that we lost the game, but I was like, the fact that he was out there, like a lot of pitchers wouldn't take the ball, right, in that situation, and he took the ball, and he, you know what? Say what you want about guys like him, or Giancarlo Stanton, they don't hide from the pressure and they don't hide from the media after the game. Like he was accountable. He said I stunk and blah, blah. Like he was at his locker explaining what happened. He didn't say I was hurt and made excuses, but he stood up in front of the pressure and said, you know what, I didn't have a good game. It's on me, blah, blah, blah. So like I know Yankee fans that killed him for that. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not going there. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of them.
I agree with you, Sean.
That's always, I think it's ridiculous because there's a lot of Hall of Famers, Greg Maddux, Clayton Kershaw, Clayton Kershaw is going to be a Hall of Fame. We all know that. Tell me what their playoff records look like.
Not very good.
Hot garbage. Does that mean that he's not clutch? Or he's not, you know what?
Yeah.
It is what it is sometimes with guys and how they perform. But, yeah, because that whole thing after that Boston game, we shouldn't have gave him the money. And
right.
I was like, what?
Like he's the best pitcher we had in years. Like like we're talking about like Tanaka, who was playoff. He was huge in the playoffs, but he's not Garrett Cole. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I agree with you. You look at it like Maddux and Glavine and Smoltz. They got one series win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Clayton Kershaw, his record's not great. Like, but it's like I was watching the Dr. K documentary the other day. Good documentary about Dwight Gooden, and it's like that season. Before that 86 World Series season, he was like lights out. He had a pretty good season that year, didn't get a World Series win, and he felt like he was a disappointment. Like, they wouldn't have been in that position if it wasn't for him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, man. You got to smarten up on that. But, like, listen, Garrett Cole, I got nothing but respect for that guy because, like I said, he stood in front of his locker. He answered the questions. He takes the ball. And he doesn't hide from it. He knows he's the guy. He knows he's the ace, and he was accountable for it. So,
I think my biggest thing with Garrett Cole, then we can move on and switch gears here, is when he came from Houston, I was expecting this, and what I've gotten from him has not measured up to what I expected. Now, I'm not discrediting the fact that he's an ace. I'm not discrediting the fact that he's a good pitcher. Heck, he may win a Cy Young. I'm not discrediting that at all. But what I watched him do in Houston was exactly what I wanted him to do in New York.
But serious.
Versus Houston. And he hadn't done that.
He can't do that because the Yankees, see, this is where a lot of people don't realize. This is why a lot of pitchers fail with the Yankees. It's not about New York. It's because the Yankees analytics people want them to throw pitches that they don't know that are not pitches that they were throwing somewhere else. Sonny Gray is a perfect example. Sonny Gray was not a guy who threw a lot of sliders. Right. He came to New York, all of a sudden he's throwing sliders, because the Yankee pitching hierarchy pressured him to throw that pitch. We want to see a slider more because analytics say he got this much rotation and mama. He didn't like throwing sliders. Garrett Cole, if you look at it, he's changed how he pitched when he got here because that's what the Yankees analytics wanted him to do. That's why he isn't the same guy. Because if you look Garrett Cole in Pittsburgh, the Garrett Cole in Houston, totally different pitching. Totally different pitchers.
Well, now, part of that is the substance, right? It was the spider tag. The spider tag and his spin rate went down, but he's still a good pitcher.
Exactly. You know because that happened to, and by the way, that affected a whole lot of pitchers, not just him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so my man Jared posed an interesting question about AI and bad umpires. I mean, we're talking about pitching and everything here. Do you think it's a matter of bad umpiring, not calling balls or strikes, or like? I think a lot of this whole pitching conversation can be left up for interpretation as it pertains to like strike zones. I mean, you mentioned the umpire Hernandez a little bit ago being a factor into that no being called. Like, what do you guys feel about potentially that being a factor in some of these calls?
It should happen because see, there's no interpreting the strike zone. It literally says in the rule book, letters to these. That's what it says. Letters to to knees. Above the letters is a ball. At the letters is a strike. Below the knees is a ball. At the knees is a strike. But you have one person say, well, my strike zone is no, bruh. It ain't your strike zone. There's only one strike zone, but instead we got how many umpires are there? Say 150. We got 150 fucking strike zones. Mm-hmm. Depending on the time of the day and how he's feeling, whether his wife gave him some, what did he eat? And it changes during the game, and that's what's so frustrating. He'll say he's calling low pitches. 7th inning, now that same pitch you been calling strike all night, now it's a ball. What the hell, man? So I would love to see them do that. I don't think it'll happen because what people don't realize, the umpires union, y'all think the players union is strong? That umpires union and players union got nothing on the umpires union. Because how in the hell Angel Hernandez still has a job because of how good his union is?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Chandler. I would like to see something to be more accurate, but part of me wants to keep the human element in baseball because that's what makes it baseball.
Bingo.
It's tough because, and I like the idea that every umpire's strike zone is different because it's their interpretation of the strike zone. Everybody doesn't interpret things the same way, just like we talk about sports and we have different opinions, right? So I think that's what makes baseball baseball. I like them to get it right. I like, instant replay to get the runner out at first correct. The strike zone, I feel like, is a little bit more of a, not a sacred thing, but it's like it's the human element that I just don't want to lose it completely. I want to get it right when the time is right, but part of me just is a purist and wants to keep that pure.
I mean, I can respect it. At the end of the day, you can do instant replay and put trackers and baseballs and all the things to help get it right. But when it starts talking about AI or automated umpiring or automated things of that nature, then the purist aspect of things kind of stand up. So you really can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, this is where I feel the league is trending towards. Hell, we just had a whole new kickoff rule in football because that's where the league is trending. And the thing is, like, I'm gonna shoot you guys straight. Like, there are so many games over the course of baseball that have been left up to the interpretation of an umpire. And to Chandler's point, whether he had a good day, bad day, the sun is out, it's cold, he ate his Wheaties, didn't eat his Wheaties, whatever the case may be, I don't think something as significant as a ball and strike, although the purists are going to say, hey, I want it to be pure, should be left up to chance when we have the technology and the ability to change that. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to put instant replay in the baseball game and a shot clock in baseball to speed up the game, to find out if a runner is safe or out, or if he check swung or went full around, or if the ball cleared, the home run spot, then the least we can do is get the balls and strikes, straight at the infancy of a play. So I mean, that's just my stance on it.
Hey, Aaron, I'll go like this. I'm one of them guys, and I even tell my coworkers the same thing. I believe in, like you say, the baseball purists. I believe in your old school ways, but you got to adapt to the new technology. You got to have, a combination of the two. You can't just say we all go with all the new school ways of doing things, and we got to take away all of the things that make baseball what it is. So I'm a fan of, just like in football, you should start grading these umpires. I know that their union is super strong, but it's probably some NCAA umpires that's wanting to get up to the major league. It's probably some minor league ones that's really good ones, and they're trying to get up there. And I feel like at that point, grade them. And if your grade falls below a certain level, then now you go to the minor leagues. Like, you can demote a player, you can demote an ump. Or you can get somebody who's really good in the NCAA and they get promoted up to minor leagues and work their way up the system. There's a way that they can grade those balls and strikes And I'll even go even further with you guys. How many times have we seen a baseball game, somebody strikes out on a questionable call in the bottom of the ninth? If you can review if that runner was safe, and you can review did that ball go over or not, I feel like you don't want to give them 100 times so they can dispute a strike.
Mm-hmm.
But if my guy struck out on a questionable strike in the bottom of the ninth, instant replay. We're gonna go back, give him another at bat, because at that point it's determining the outcome of the game. And I wouldn't want you guys have mentioned New York. What's New York notorious for? The mob. I wouldn't want somebody because this guy has, you know, money on the line, and now this umpire, because I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because we've seen that rabbit hole before, and now he's determining the outcome of the game. And then when you get into stuff like that, then now that guy, he can't make too many questionable calls because now he's being graded. He's being graded on what's been going on, and his job is in jeopardy. And like I said, I know baseball has a crazy union, but I feel like it should be a combination of the two. But if it's something that's determining the outcome of the game, it should be able, hey, let's go to the replay. They literally have that, like Chandler said, they have the box up on the screen for a reason. Hey, this pitch was way over here outside of the strike zone, but you called strike. We reviewed it, replay said overturn it, even though we hardly ever see any calls get overturned in baseball, but it should be up to them to be able to dispute it, and it may or may not be overturned. I feel like it should be a combination too.
What makes this so worse, and then again, we can move. We've been sitting here on baseball for an hour, but what makes this worse is the aftermath, right? So after a questionable call, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever the case may be, these calls and these decisions are being reviewed, and so many times a guy has come out or articles come out or a union or a reference come out and say, you know what, I messed up, I blew it. You know what I'm saying? And now, you know, playoff positioning's affected. Guys doesn't hit their marks, you know. Just like football and basketball, these baseball pitchers and these baseball guys, they have bonuses that they have to achieve. If they pitch, you know, a certain amount of times, they have a certain ERA. If they get a number of Ks versus balls and this, that, and the third, their paychecks are incentivized and their bonuses are incentivized as well. So not only are these bad and questionable calls affecting outcomes of ball games, it's also affecting the dollars and cents that these guys put in their pockets. You know what I'm saying? So I want them to see it get it right. Again, I want to discredit what Villain says about, you know, wanting to keep the game pure, but at the end of the day, like, I've seen more bad calls stand because they want to stand on a bad call than bad calls get overturned because they go to the monitor and somebody in New York, if you will, say, yo, we got to get this right. But with that being said, gentlemen, I'm going to move on to NCAA basketball. The Final Four is set on both the men's and women's side. I'm going to start with the men's side first because once we get over to the women's side, it's going to get spicy, I already know. But UConn has once again separated itself from the pack. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I don't see anybody beating them. I just don't see anybody beating UConn. But I wanted to give you all an opportunity to kind of sound off on how each of these four teams got to this point, to the Final Four. I got a UConn fan in the building, so I'm going to let him sit tight and go last. Larry, talk to me, my guy, man. The NBA, the Final Four is upon us. How you feel, man?
Man, well, you know, I'm a little heartbroken over here. I didn't see that Duke game playing out the way that it played out. I'm not gonna take nothing away from NC State. I'm gonna say that, you know, NC State, they still riding that Cinderella ride. I really didn't like a lot of those questionable calls in that second half, and of course, you know, that was my big concern about Shire. He didn't make no adjustments in the second half. He kept running what he kept running. They got away from the pick and roll with Kyle, and it was just like the game just went away. But I do want to see them on that, keep staying on that run. I think we're all in agreements. Like, UConn's literally destroying teams. Like, it's almost to the point where it's like, do I even really want to watch the UConn game because we know what UConn's gonna do? Now, I will say this, and Barry, don't get mad at me, but UConn is gonna have to bring their defensive hat because Alabama can score. They may not play a lick of defense. They've been spotty on defense. They play when they want to play, but them guys can score. And if you get into a track meet with them, they might out track run you in a track meet. And hey, there's always that one guy you don't see coming, and he's running a 9.2, and you're running a 9.4, and he catches you from behind. So they don't want to get in that track meet. Like I said, I would definitely love to see if it came down to a Cinderella NC State versus UConn, seeing DJ and how they were going to handle DJ, because that team actually it's one of those few teams that they're on an amazing run. We love to see that story. Every storybook ending don't always end up a storybook ending. Every time you see a movie and that guy, they had this Cinderella run, sometimes they make it a little bit more drama for the movie. And at the end of the day, that team didn't win, even though the movie said they won. But I would love to see, them actually win it, because I think that it's going to come down to a really good game. That team has length. That team can shoot. That team plays defense, which will match up good with a UConn team that's going on an amazing run. So I definitely want to see it. I'm actually at that point right now where, even though my Dukies lost, I'm tipping my hat to every team that's in the Final Four, because every team has did something amazing to this point, whether it's blowing teams out by 30, beating teams that you didn't think they were going to beat, or, literally NC State, they mentioned it. They were literally dead in the water. In the NC, it was the ACC tournament. They were dead in the water. They were down by like 10 or 15 or something. It was like 6 minutes left and went on an amazing run. So yeah, I'm tipping my hat to all of the top 4 teams, and I just want to see some really good games.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, set of games this weekend. Purdue, NC State, and then you got UConn playing Alabama. Steve, man, I'm gonna throw that.
And I will say this though. One of the other biggest things is, and I think we all were in agreement. I think America was in agreement that Purdue was gonna fail at some point.
I bet on
Purdue has not failed. That's amazing too. Like I said, I want to see some really good games, because everybody has really kind of overcame things that we didn't expect from them.
Yeah. And honestly, it's gonna be interesting to see how it pans out. Steve, talk to me, my guy. This men's side of this Final Four. You got Purdue playing NC State, you got UConn playing Alabama. Each of these teams had unique runs to get to this point. But tell me how you feel, my guy.
So of course, like I haven't made it. It hasn't been a secret how much I love this NC State run. I mean, just going from having to go to the ACC tournament, winning 5 games in 5 days, and they just kept winning. They kept getting it done different kind of ways. And I love this team. Is they're grimy. They're getting in your face. They just refuse to like back down. Now, Purdue, I to say what Larry said, like I think we always like, oh, Purdue is the number 1 seed that's in the most trouble, and Purdue is going to blow it because Purdue always blows it. And here they are in the Final Four. And it's just one of those where it's like we kept anticipating Purdue to blow it, and they didn't. And kudos to Painter, and kudos to the Purdue team for exceeding pretty much everybody's expectations, because we were waiting for Purdue to fall on their face, and they haven't. There's still time for them to do it, but because they can go out here Saturday and lay an egg, who knows? But I don't think they will. UConn and Alabama, I think, is going to be a fantastic basketball game, because what you have is, and I said this last week, and I've said this after the first round. I've been consistent. I've like, the thing that has shocked me the most, and it's not really shocking, is UConn's dominance has just they have just been the best team the whole time, and I don't see anybody beating them. But I've been saying that. I said it going into the tournament. I said it after the first couple games. I've said it every round. So I'll continue to be consistent like UConn and say that I feel like they're going to be cutting down the nets in Phoenix next Monday. And they score and they score and they score, and not that UConn can't score. It's not like UConn averages like 32 points a game or something like that. You know, I feel like this is going to be high-level basketball. No disrespect to NC State and Purdue, but the game I'm looking forward to most on Saturday is UConn, Alabama, just because it's, you know, Alabama who's just, you know, runs up and down the court, and UConn can run up and down the court too. My thing is, what happens when UConn slows this game down? Because Bama is just like all gas, no brakes. No, go. UConn has the tools to slow this team down, slow this game down, and that's where I'm really interested to see how Alabama will respond to a kind of slow, grimy, you know, kind of like just game where you just got to kind of tough it out, because Alabama, like, I mean, they were highest scoring team in the country, for guys. I mean, they were scoring 90 points a night pretty much. I mean, it's just, and UConn can do that, you know, and I feel like Bama is running against a team that like, oh, you want to score? Fine, we'll score with you. But can Alabama slow it down? Can Alabama win a game that's in the 60s, you know, so to speak? And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see how that particular game pans out. Chandler, I'll come to you next, sir. This men's Final Four is set to take place Saturday in Phoenix, Arizona, man. What say you about it?
10 p.m.
I don't listen. I think NC State's a good team. I'm sick of hearing people say Cinderella. They're a good team. They didn't play like they were supposed to this year. They played below their talent level. DJ Burns, the kid is good. The team is a good team. They didn't play well in ACC, and I don't know why all season. I blame coaching, but because by the way, their coach was getting fired had they not won the ACC tournament. Their coach was getting fired. So I'm not the only person who thought that he wasn't maximizing his talent. So I'm not surprised that they've beaten the teams they've beaten. And Purdue still has time to choke it away. I do like Zach Edey name dropping Rick Barnes as somebody who ignored him, because you know I hate Rick Barnes, choking dog that he is. So I do like that. But listen, man, come on, bro. You know, y'all ain't really played nobody yet, son. Okay, y'all ain't played nobody yet. Talk to me when y'all play somebody. Let me see what you do when they don't let you. When they don't let you do that, the same two moves that you do against everybody else. All right, he's two moves, but honestly, I am very underwhelmed by the men's tournament. There have been some good individual games in the men's tournament. I am very underwhelmed overall. There were what I would say there may be 5 teams that I was like, oh man, that was a good game. Out of all of the games, like 5 games. It's like 5 games. You go to women's side, dude, from day 1 up to down. All right, pretty much every freaking game was great. So if UConn wins, they win. I honestly don't care.
Yeah. Villain, talk to me, my guy. Your boys done luck boxed themselves into a Final Four. You know what I'm saying? They're skating by the skin of their chinny chin. Let me stop lunching, man. Talk to me about your boys making it to the Final Four. And if you want to talk about the other game going on Saturday, Purdue and NC State, you know, speak your piece.
I mean, first of all, Chandler, that's a lie. I'm gonna channel my inner Roman Reigns.
Oh Lord! Now he
acknowledge me.
No, he didn't go WWE.
Acknowledge me.
He went WWE on me.
So listen, I mean, I got the belt back here. I'll go get the belt.
Oh Lord!
Listen, I'll start with. Listen. I 100% agree with Chandler. The men's tournament as a whole hasn't really been super exciting. You haven't had that buzzer beater. You've had some upsets. You know, you had it so early you almost forgot about it when Kentucky got beat, what have you. I think it's a lot of teams outside of NC State that got automatic bids by winning their tournament, and teams that didn't get in, that should have got in, that got those spots taken. It's kind of diluted the pool a little bit. So I think that might be part of it. But I agree. I think the women's tournament has been better than the men's tournament. Having said that, I as much as I killed Purdue, I didn't think they would make it to the Sweet 16. I got to give them their props. They're here. Zach Edey, I can say what I want about him. 2 moves special, 2 moves in a biscuit, but it's effective and he's here. I can't hate on him saying he's a national player of the year that can't get out of the first weekend. He got out of the first weekend. They made it to the Final Four. So it is what it is, right? So, I thought Tennessee would make it. When I made my bracket, I was really close. I had UConn, Tennessee, and I think I had North Carolina and Duke, and I almost got there. Almost had it. So I was surprised that Duke lost, but not surprised at this point that NC State is just hot. Like, you guys are right. That Coach Keats was on the hot seat because you lost like 5 straight games heading into the ACC tournament. I don't know anybody that's going to keep their job as poor as he was coaching, that team was playing. So for him to go on this run, props to him. But them Huskies, man. Them Huskies. It's impressive to me because last year they were a good team. They had a rough spell halfway through the year, picked it back up, didn't really have a really good Big East tournament, and then were unstoppable. They lost 3 NBA players off that team, and they're better this year than they were last year. That's impressive. And it's like, I recall Hurley when, I think it was 2-3 years ago, about 3 years ago, when they lost it. I think they lost in the first round or something like that. And he said, you better get us now because we're coming. And people laughed him off. Like, yeah, whatever, dude. They're here. So the stats on them is ridiculous. 30-0 run against a pretty good Illinois team that can get up and down. They've trailed for 29 seconds the whole tournament. 29 seconds. And Zach is right. You guys are right. They can beat you in so many different ways. They can slow the game down. They can run up and down. They can play big. They can play small. They have a deep bench. Like, there's nothing this team can't do right now. That's why they're so dominant right now. Alabama is a tough chore because they got 2 guys on the outside that can fill it up from 3. So if they don't get out and defend, get over screens and get on top of them, like, they're going to shoot. They can shoot threes and shoot their way into the title game. So UConn, I think, will be prepared and ready for that. But me personally, I like the matchup of DJ Burns, who's NFL ready. I like the matchup of him versus Edey. But selfishly, I want Edey Clingan. Edey versus Clingan title game. That's what I want to see. But I want, you know what? If Purdue wins this game and then plays against UConn, we're gonna have a lot of things to say about Edey, good or bad. And I think that's fair. You know what I mean? Because he's going up against 2 tough players. One who's DJ is really skilled for his size, and then Clingan is just playing some dominant basketball that can match him physically. So we're going to see a lot about Edey, but I think this is UConn's Final Four to lose.
Yeah, and again, I don't foresee anybody beating them at the end of the day, man. I just the way UConn is playing. Again, they've been smacking teams by 20 plus all tournament long. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be very difficult for me to see an Alabama team who struggles, for periods of time to put the ball in the bucket. Let's keep it a buck. The guy who sent North Carolina home, Grant Nelson had 8 points against Clemson. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I saw the Mark Sears who can get his own bucket anytime. Who are you going to guard? Like, who do you got to worry about for Alabama? On the flip side, you got UConn who can, dress the guy, the 12th guy on the bench, and he can give you 15 to 20 a game. So they're just deep. They're loaded. The way that this UConn team is playing right now, it's insane. On the flip side, man, the women's side of the ledger is headed. What's up? What's up?
I did want to piss Barry off right quick.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Barry, quit comparing the UConn team because they're on an amazing run, but quit comparing them to UNLV. It's not the same, bro. It's It's not the same.
No,
I didn't compare them to UNLV.
I compared them to UNLV.
I thought Barry brought it up.
Oh no, I wouldn't do
no.
that, LJ.
No.
I wouldn't. That's disrespectful. Listen,
it's not disrespectful. The only thing is like the similarities. It's like let's not act like UNLV had this like long storied run or whatever. That they were the best team in basketball in college basketball for 2 years until they lost to Duke, in the championship game. And I was just saying there are similarities. That's all. I was saying
the only similarities is that they're
UNLV
undefeated.
it was a UNLV like run. Like, not, they're better than UNLV. UNLV like run. UConn won last year, and they kind of went through the tournament like similar to how the Rebels did, and then they're doing it again this year. Now, I don't see them like tripping up like UNLV did. I mean, because like, let's be honest, guys, it's like they had a very tough game in the Final Four against, I believe it was not West Virginia, but maybe it might have been Cincinnati or somebody like that. And then Duke saw something, exposed it in the championship game, and beat them. And it's like I don't see that happening this year. I joke around and say whatever like that, but it's like nostalgia is very dangerous. It's like we all love Stacey Augmon, don't we? We all love Anderson Hunt. We all love Larry Johnson, don't we? But it's like let's not get caught up in the past. Like this UConn team, I guess, is going to take 30 years to look back at this UConn run and be like, man, them boys was good.
Ain't nobody on this UConn team named Scurry. So they not like UNLV.
Look, so they on a run like them, similar for numbers wise, but they haven't faced nowhere near the competition. Steve, let me educate you. Do you not know that the UNLV team beat a Georgia Tech team with Kenny Anderson and what's the other guy name?
No, you don't want to give
Mark Price.
They beat.
No way, Mark Price and Kenny Anderson on the same team.
No.
Oh no.
No, they beat a Georgia Tech team with Dennis Scott and Kenny Anderson.
Scott.
They beat a Lower Marymount. Dude, people don't even know because he passed away. They beat a Lower Marymount team with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers by 30 points. UConn has not faced nowhere near the competition level that UNLV did. Not even close.
I tend to laugh at that type of narrative because at the end of the day, like you play who's put in front of you.
You do.
And so
that's what we got to be fair.
Yeah, because they played in the vaunted Mountain West back in the day. And this isn't the modern Mountain West. Okay, it's like let's keep it right?
It was a different time. You had 4-year players playing college basketball.
That's why it was different because you had loaded teams. You had more simulated teams. So those teams were better because
it's a different era now.
Well, yeah, but the point is the teams were better because guys stayed 4 years. These teams aren't
at least 3
because nobody stays 2 years.
Right.
Hell with 3. Nobody stays 2 years. So
nobody stays 2 years in college, and nobody stays at more than 2 years at a program.
Right.
Like 1 year and they're done. They're going to the next program.
So it's hard to build a powerhouse team. That's the only thing I'll say that's impressive about Hurley. Because he's got guys who are willing to stay there. You understand what I'm saying?
Because look at a kid like Castle. Like Castle is probably the most talented player on the team. I think Newton's probably the best player, but that guy, you can look at him and say, all right, he's going to play at the next level if he gets a couple things right. A guy like him normally would be gone next year. I don't see any reason why this kid is leaving. Right. He's not leaving. And the thing about Hurley, he's the best college coach in college, bar none. I don't care who you put up against him.
I think Dawn Staley would like a word. Dawn Staley would like a word. Dawn Staley would like a word.
Men's college basketball coach. He's the best college basketball coach. And I think he because he's hard on his kids, he coaches them, but he also brings the right kids into his program. Yes. These are kids that want to be coached. These are kids that want to be pushed. Like other kids, like, nah, man, I'm good, man. You can't tell me what to do, man. I'm in the transfer portal, man. I'll get my money elsewhere. But these kids want to coach. And like what he said to Castle, he's like, you can be a really good player, but do you want to win? You know what I mean? Like, come to UConn. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like Suge Knight. It's like, you come to death row. You know what I mean? It's like, like he's a great coach. He's a great coach. You know what I mean? So No, Don Staley's the best coach in all of college basketball. We already know that. But like men's basketball, come on, Danny Hurley, he's got his chip. What up, Dawn? You ain't get one last year. What we talking about?
Stop it now.
Because
I'm playing. You know what I mean? It's UConn, baby. UConn Huskies.
Oh,
Hey,
Lord,
his
have
brother's
mercy.
doing a good job down in Arizona too. I give the credit to his daddy. I give the credit to their daddy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's a great thing that's happening in UConn. Like, you know, we were looking for our respect as a blue blood. Now, I mean, like, I think they're the best program in men's basketball right now. And but you know, there's other ones. There's other programs coming, but like UConn is getting the right kids into their program, and it's hard to do that right now. Chandler's right. It's hard to get the right kids in your program that want to stay here. So you got to give them that props.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey Barry, let me ask you a question. So he has the best program in college basketball now. Do you think if like the Bucks or somebody backed the Brinks truck up to his front door, you think he'll leave?
No.
Mm-mm.
Nah, I honestly
He's a
don't.
college coach.
He's a college coach. I don't think he would translate into the NBA. Kind of like Rick Pitino didn't translate in the NBA when he left. Where did he leave Chandler at first? He left to
Celtics.
go coach in the Celtics. He left
Yeah.
He left Kentucky, right?
Yep, left Kentucky.
But he coached the
No.
Knicks too, right?
Yeah,
Did he
Kentucky.
coach the Knicks for a
Coached the
hot
Knicks.
second?
For the Knicks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He did. He's a college coach, right? I think, you know, he recognizes that he understands that, and it's different coaching men that get paid way more money than you, trying to get them to buy in. You know, Hurley's a mean guy. He's a tough guy. You know what I mean? Like, look at his brother. His brother was a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think his personality would fit with like, especially like a Bucks team like Dame Dollar.
He would have to go to. He would have to go to a Miami Heat. I'd say Heat, Knicks,
Culture.
Celtics, maybe,
Maybe.
and I don't see a Western Conference team that he could coach. I don't see a Western Conference team he could coach.
He couldn't coach Milwaukee. He couldn't coach Golden State. He couldn't coach any of those guys.
No.
When you get the win too much, somebody's gonna come knocking at your door.
Maybe the Wizards, because I mean they're just so.
Listen, he gonna punch Jordan Poole right in his face. All right,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Jordan Poole
Look
and
at him
Kaminga.
right though.
Poole and Kaminga. Ooh.
He would have to take
Look
off
at
his
him right
belt
though.
in the locker room. He would have to be like, you know, he'll tell them to go get a switch. You know what I'm saying? If he coach for the Wizards, he's like, go get a switch. You know, it's like, no, it wouldn't work out in the district for him. But I mean, it's like I just want to jump in real quick on it. Like, Hurley's a college coach, and it's nothing wrong with being a college coach.
Nope.
And and the most important thing to him is the University of Connecticut's basketball team. He's not like other coaches who are like, you know what, come here, we'll get you paid. Come here, we'll get you exposure. He's like, no, come here, and I want you to have pride in the name on the front of that jersey more than on the back, because we're a team, you know. And
he's not looking at his next job.
He's
Wherever
at
he's
his
coached,
next job. Exactly.
that's where his feet are. He's not like he was what? He was at Arizona, right? He was at Arizona, right?
Yeah, he was in Arizona.
He was at Arizona for a second, then he went to Rhode Island.
Yeah, he wasn't looking for his next.
No,
job.
his brother was at Arizona. He was at Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
I got a mix.
Yeah, his brother.
He would have stayed at Rhode Island forever. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. If Coach K didn't tell him, hey man, you
might
you've done all you can here.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah, but
and you know, I question the hire, right? Because you got to remember, Kevin Ali was a darn good coach. And he won a national championship.
And won a national championship. Yeah.
They screwed him over, and Dan Hurley had to come in after that and pick up the pieces. And UConn fans were not convinced that he was the guy. I thought he was a good hire, but I was like, dude, what's up with my man Kevin, man? I wanted him, man. Like he was the heir apparent to Coach Calhoun, and he had built something. You know, we had a couple rocky years, but like a lot of things were going on at UConn, right? Like we weren't in the Big East. That whole scandal with Kevin Ali and then how he got let go, and then Dan Hurley had to come in after that, and he was automatically behind the 8 ball. So to go from that to where he is now is a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how the transformation from where UConn was to where it's at now. But one UConn program that has never really been in trouble or in flux is this women's ball team. And they, got back to the Final Four, beating the USC Trojans yesterday. Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins put on a show, transitioning to the women's side of things. And again, I wanted to see how you guys felt about the women's bracket and how the women shakes out. We got South Carolina, playing NC State, and then we got Iowa, UConn, man. Again, I think for the second consecutive time, this second game on Friday night is going to be more interesting than the first. But talk to me, gentlemen. This UConn team, Gino finds himself back in the Final Four. Villain, I have you bet lead off here. You got some family members that, a big UConn women's fan. Shout out to Paige Beckers and company. It's good to see her back healthy, playing some significant ball.
Yeah, this is probably hit, Gino's most impressive run since his first run to the Final Four because of the injuries that he's dealt with on that team. Like, he's had loaded teams, and rightfully so. Everybody wanted to play at UConn or Tennessee at that point.
Yep.
But, like, this team is 8 deep. And what I love about – first of all, acknowledge her now, right? Like, this girl, freshman year, was player of the year. She is supposed to be Caitlin Clark right now. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Caitlin Clark was at school when Paige Beckers was a freshman. Nobody was talking about Caitlin Clark. Everybody was talking about Paige Beckers was the one. And then had that horrific injury, only played like 17 games, I think, her sophomore year, missed her junior year, and now has come back and really has established herself. But she scored like 28 points, had 10 rebounds, 6 assists, defended Juju when it came down the stretch to get big stops. This girl did everything in her power to win that game. Major props to Paige Beckers to get her flowers. And there is nothing, as a selfish fan, I was like, I want Paige Beckers to go head-to-head with Caitlin Clark. Yeah. Not because of any kind of hate or self. I just want Paige Beckers to get her shine. She absolutely deserves it. She's a humble kid. She's a good kid. And you just root for somebody like that just because of where she tore her ACL to be where she's at to get into this to this point right now. But Juju, she's coming. That girl's coming. Yeah. They told her, Gino said, go pro. Get away from me. I don't want to see you no more. You know what I mean? That girl can ball, son. So she's coming. Like it kind of broke me a little bit to see her crying after the game, but like if she stays in college, she's gonna be back and she's gonna be better for this experience. She's unbelievable. But shout out to Paige Beckers and the UConn girls. I'm really looking forward to that matchup. So yeah, I just want to talk about that. We can do you want me to move on to the other game, or we can just stick on UConn for right now?
You can move on to the other game. I mean, South Carolina.
I mean, really, right now, the game is the game. And it's so funny. They asked Angel Reese, about the comparisons with her and Caitlin Clark to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And she's like, well, I'm not really familiar with their college games, so I don't know. That's what have you. But the comparisons are so similar. Like, it's freaky how similar. Like, because you look at where the women's game was. It was really healthy, but not to the point where you would say you would watch that game more than the men's game. And those two girls, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, polarizing opposites like Larry and Magic are elevating the women's game. Over 12 million people watched that game last night. Highest rated game, for a women's college basketball game. I watched it. And I enjoyed watching it because my daughter was watching it with me. And she asked me questions like, Daddy, girls play basketball? I was like, yeah, watch these girls play, man. Watch them play. You know what I mean? And it kind of like, damn, man, like, my daughter can sit here and watch it and relate to it. So I hope she embraces her legacy with Caitlin Clark. If I was her, I'm calling Caitlin Clark, let's get some money together. What commercial you want to do first? Let's get that bread. because that's where it's at, right? So, but like it was a highly rated game. It was box office, like the energy in the place was electric in Albany, New York, and it lived up to the hype. It was a really good game, tied at halftime. Angel Reese, if she didn't get hurt, you could tell she was a little hobbled, but she dominated that game in the first half. Caitlin Clark took over in the second half. Caitlin Clark, I don't want to hear the GOAT comparisons. She's not the GOAT. I don't want to hear that. She's not. You got to win multiple chips. You got Brianna Stewart, I think, won 4 chips. You know what I mean? Diana Taurasi won 3. Sarah Swoops won 2. You got girls that won multiple chips. Caitlin Clark ain't got 1. You can't just win 1 and then be automatically called the GOAT. If that now mentality and that flavor of the moment type thing, stop it. Caitlin Clark is a great player. She's going to do great things at the next level. Stop. She can be your GOAT. She ain't the GOAT. But I ain't trying to discredit her. She's unbelievable, and she's box office, and she brought it with Angel Reese last night, and that was a showcase. I wish that was a Final Four. Those 2 games last night, I wish was the Final Four because it was worth the watch. It was worth the watch. It was unbelievable basketball.
Yeah, man. Larry, I'll throw it over to you, man. The women's side of the ledger is a lot more entertaining, in my opinion, to kind of look at and watch. We got UConn playing Iowa. We got South Carolina playing NC State. If you want to talk about how these teams got here, you definitely can. If you want to, spin ahead to what's supposed to happen on Friday night, kind of break down those games and talk to me how you feel.
All right, man. So I'm gonna stick with the game for right now. We can get into some of the other stuff later. Of course, I'm heartbroken because I wanted to see the Juju versus Caitlin matchup. I'm heartbroken. I wanted to see that. Not taking nothing away from Kate Beckers, man. The girl came back, man. And I thought, honestly, when I watched the game, I thought it was gonna be USC's size that was gonna come up in big for them because them girls is huge. I don't know what they recruiting out in USC, but them girls is huge. Especially when you look, and, normally UConn have those, good power forwards, good centers. I was actually shocked that the USC women were actually bigger, but of course they didn't play like it. And Juju was amazing, man. That girl, if you watched that game, you could see where Kate Beckers was starting to take over. UConn went up by 8, and then Juju goes on a 6-0 run. And then they go about 11, and then Juju goes on a 9-0 run. At one point, I think it was the third quarter, Juju went on a 10-0 run and tied the game back up. It was a really good game. I thought that, I said, I thought USC was gonna pull it out. I was gonna get my dream matchup. Seeing them go head to head. Because that was one of the things that I wanted to see. Could you see a freshman actually get to that final game and going against one of the all-time greats in the women's game? But I take my hats off. Like I said before, Gino's that coach in women's basketball. Gino has teams that you don't expect them to win. They may have one superstar and they still win. They still get there. Gino is that guy. He can have a loaded team. He can have a team that's been suspect, and he's gonna get to the Final Four. He's gonna at least get to the Elite 8. He's gonna get his team there. And like I say, I thought it was a really good game. It was a really high level game, and it lived up to the billing. I think that all 4 games actually lived up to the billing of what we were anticipating. Now, as far as the LSU game, I don't know. I'm gonna stick to basketball, but I don't know what Kim Mulkey was thinking. Why in the world would you put what's her name, Van Lith on?
Yeah, Haley Van Lith. She did that girl a disservice.
Right.
She was burnt toast. That girl was getting burnt all night long because, first of all, she was going under the screens. Don't do that against Caitlin Clark. That girl can shoot from half court. Don't do that. But then it was more of the back and forth. Like you said, it was tied at halftime. I think that LSU did not make the adjustments that Iowa made, because Iowa, if you notice in the second half, they actually start running more than they were in the first half. Like Caitlin Clark, she started pushing it. Man, she had 12 downs last night. She started pushing the rock. And even when they was like, okay, I thought she did force a couple of threes up, that she could have probably, waited on. But and she did make that one bad mistake where she fouled a girl on the 3-point shot, because this game was the score was closer than what the game really was. They did get like a 5-point play, late in the game, because she fouled a girl on the 3. But it was a good game. I will say this: you could tell that Angel Reese was a little bit, I'm gonna say, injured, but she still had 20 rebounds. So at this point in the season, everybody's injured. Don't make excuses. You go out and play the game. But I put it like this: you had 20 rebounds, but ultimately, when I looked at the game, LSU just missed a lot of shots. LSU is missing free throws. I think Angel Reese missed like 7 free throws or something like that. I think that at the second half, Iowa made adjustments. Caitlin Clark started pushing the ball more. LSU did not make those adjustments. And ultimately, that pressure is what ended up getting to LSU, because they were missing point-blank shots. They were missing easy layups. Now, I don't want to take nothing away from LSU, and I don't want to take nothing away from Iowa, but I didn't like some of the questionable calls that LSU was getting in that second half. But like I said, both games were really good. I stayed up late last night because I wanted to watch the USC game. It came on later, but all of the games lived up to the billing. And when you comparing the women's game to the men's game, I think we've all agreed that it's the stars. The stars are making the women's game more appealing to watch, because you want to see that. We all know storylines is what everybody want to see. Everybody wanted to see Kate Becker's coming back and how that's going to play out against the hot, freshman player. And then now you see the rematch with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. But yeah, I think both of them lived up to the billing.
Man.
It's good for women's basketball. I'll say this too. I'm glad that even though if Angel Reese does go pro, and we know Caitlin Clark, she's out of there, that next season we'll look forward to the Jujus and the Flojays, and it's another influx of talent coming in. So we got something to look for next year, and not like, oh, all the stars are gone. What do we look for next year? So I definitely like that part. And I will say this final. Another difference in that game.
You like a black preacher, man. Like, look, one more thing.
Hey, I am.
I'm gonna let you get out of here. I'm almost done. I'm wrapping it up.
No, you ain't done.
Don't take your time, Pastor. Take your time.
Yes. Hey, I will say this, man. The difference in the two games is that Caitlin Clark's her teammates stepped up this year, especially
no, you're right.
Martin. They stepped up, and that was the big difference between last year.
They're a better team this year than they were last year. She carried them last year. She could rely on them this year.
Yes.
Iowa returned a good portion of the starters anyway. So having gone through what they went through last year, that team was significantly better. But Steve, talk to me, my guy. This women's side of the ledger is nice. You got South Carolina, pretty much head and shoulders number 1 seed. But that second game on Friday night is going to be muy caliente, man. Talk to me.
Yeah. No disrespect to South Carolina or North Carolina State. I think the Lady Gamecocks will take care of that. And there's no offense, like North Carolina State has been amazing. They look, as long as they can have the shorter 3-point line like they did in Portland, who knows? Who knows what might happen in Cleveland? But anyway, I'm not gonna go there because I come off as like a bitter Texas fan when I say that. But if South Carolina can, look, we'll let y'all girls get it in a little bit closer with them. Anyway, just to kind of go back to UConn, I've been telling people this. I'm like, look, not Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese, not Cardoso, Paige Breckers was the number 1 player in that class. And I feel like, like I said earlier, she had to kind of reintroduce herself after some bad luck with injuries. It's like, I'm not surprised. Anybody who like has watched this girl play is like, people like, oh, it's like, no, she is doing what everybody should expect that she's doing, and it was a fantastic game last night. And like, yeah, it's like, I hate to see Juju. I was telling people, I'm like, look, there's a girl out at USC, Juju Watkins, must see TV. I'm staying up late to watch this young lady play against Utah. This is how good this girl is.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's I'm just saying. It's like, I'm staying up late to watch her play against Arizona State. This girl's just must see TV. And I'm on. We most of us on the East Coast, except for Larry. Larry, the central time zone, got talking about staying up late. But but anyway, it's just, man. We talked about like, Tom Izzo and Gino. Again, Gino's one of those coaches where this time of year is where he makes his money. This time of year, he can rally the troops. He can get them on one mind and one accord and get them focused toward that one goal. Because the only thing that matters for women's basketball in stores is hanging banners. It's like Elite Eight is not enough. Not even making it to the Final Four is enough. It's like it's championship experience, championship makeup, and you see it. And you saw it through this tournament, and I agree with Barry. This has been some of Gino's best work. Just with all the injuries and just everything happening. And look, honestly, it was a 2-horse race in women's basketball for a long time. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. It's like, overall, there aren't any they're just going to steamroll to the Final Four. Women's basketball as a whole is better. It's just top to bottom. It's just overall just better. And I mean, I love it. As somebody who remember watching, Rebecca Lobo and and Sue Bird and Shamiqua Holdsclaw and Candace Parker and you see like watching Stanford, like I like I said, I like women's basketball. I've always liked that, because I always think it's very pure. The women's game is very pure. It's backdoor cuts, it's form shooting, it's boxing out, stuff that you don't see a lot in the men's game. So I always love women's basketball. But oh boy, LSU Iowa. Like I said in the group chat last night, pace. I was like, there's no way these girls are going to be able to keep this pace going. And they didn't. The game had to slow down a little bit because they were just going out at a breakneck pace. But to Larry's point, Iowa decided to shift gears back up at the exact right time. You can kind of sense the game was close, things were going on, and it's like you can kind of sense that maybe LSU starting to slow down a little bit. I mean, and that's when Caitlin Clark and that Iowa offense just kind of like, hit the, the gas and just started, and like I said, was pushing the ball up and down the court, making Angel Reese run on that bad wheel. Because in the first half, before like the unfortunate little misstep, whatever like that, she was just down there just like getting after it. She was down there in the post and just doing whatever she wanted. And she ended up with 17 and 20. Yeah, in a losing effort, yeah, but 17 and 20, that's disgusting. That is just, she was putting in work last night. But Caitlin Clark and me and my wife were sitting there watching the game, and I looked at it, I was like, Caitlin gonna need 40 tonight. She got 41. So and it didn't seem like that in the end that they needed that 41 points. But I mean, there was a stretch in that game where it's like she took over and she did what she does. But Kim Mulkey, and I'm just gonna talk about the basketball, like the coaching aspect of it right now. The fact that she put Hailey Van Lith out there on that island and was getting mad that she was getting cooked. It's like, baby, like, it's like, why are you getting mad? Like Hailey Van Lith, that young lady was trying her best. And I know she tried. Sometimes your best ain't good enough, and it's just like, if only, they would have watched some tape and so like, what, this Clark for Iowa was pretty good. Maybe we should throw more than one person at her, and then maybe we shouldn't just let her just freely run around these screens and stuff like that. Maybe we should like kind of maybe, and I'm not championing dirty play, but you guys, we all play balls. Like give her a little this, a little that, a little, don't let her just run around, and they were just letting her run around, and poor Hailey couldn't keep up. And you saw her do like the shoulder shrug. It's like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Steve, they never even doubled the girl. Even when she switched Flo J on Johnson, she never doubled her. Never.
Why did it take until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter? You know what? Maybe we should put Flo J Johnson on Caitlin Clark.
But they still ain't doubled her. Flo J had like 4 fouls by then.
So not even you wait until late in the game when the girl got 4 fouls. Like, you know what, Flo J, go get it. It's like I've seen enough. I have
she hit you for 39, but yeah, go ahead, throw that on for the last 2.
She has 36 points. Enough is enough. You know, it's just, but like it was a fantastic game. It's like more people watch that game than watch the men's, Big 12 championship in football. The World Series, which was not a very good World Series for the casual fan. I mean, it's just it was fantastic basketball, regardless of the gender of the people playing it. It was high level basketball last night in both games. It's like why I'm sad for Juju. I wanted to see. I think I might be in the minority. I wanted to see Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark. That's the matchup that I wanted to see. Juju, she coming. She like we ain't heard the last from Juju Watkins in that USC team. But for right here, right now, I wanted that Paige versus Caitlin matchup. We got it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to sit back and watch this one, man. Chandler, I'm gonna go throw it at you real quick, but I will say this, man, before we start breaking down this LSU thing. I'm glad these 4 teams are here. These have been the 4 best teams throughout this whole tournament. I think NC State, there's something going on in NC State and Connecticut, man. Both the men and women's side have made it to the Final Four. I believe that's the first time that's ever happened when both, the men and women's collegiate basketball teams made it to their respective Final Four. I do.
No, UConn's done it before.
No, 2 teams. 2 teams.
2 teams.
Oh, 2 teams. Yeah.
2 teams. Yeah.
I
You know what I'm saying? So, I think South Carolina is just, head and shoulders the best team in the game right now. But I will say this: they have to play up their food a little bit. They like to play up their food. So again, there's something in the water right now, and NC State. So I'm not saying that they don't have a shot. But I can't wait to see this Paige Bueckers, Caitlin Clark squad go at it. And the thing is, all stars and all eyes are going to be pointing at those 2 individuals. But the surrounding cast around them has played well throughout the whole tournament. So, Gino only goes 5-6 deep due to injuries. So hopefully, UConn is getting foul trouble or they have a significant injury. But I'm looking forward to sitting here with my drink and maybe my son a little bit, watching this ball game unfold on Friday night, man. It's gonna be must see TV. Chandler, before we start talking LSU and everything going on with that particular program, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the women's Final Four. I'm not sure if you was able to stay up and watch the games last night, but it was must see TV, man. How do you feel?
I wanted Juju against Caitlin Clark, and the only reason is because Azzi Foot isn't here. And if you don't know her name, if she can ever stay healthy, she's just as good as some of these other names you were mentioning. And that's the crazy thing. She didn't get hurt. Paige Bueckers got hurt. Then she got hurt. Paige Bueckers didn't get hurt. Now she got hurt. Those 2. What have they played? Maybe 20 games together total?
Maybe not even. Yes,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's honest. I mean, I wanted to see Juju go against Caitlin Clark because I got the one that's coming for the crown against the one with the crown. Because Juju's coming for everything Caitlin Clark has done. Juju's coming for it. Everything Caitlin Clark did her freshman season, Juju's already blown by it. She's already blown by it. So, but I mean, listen. When did we stop talking about Gino as such a great coach? Remember? I mean, think about it. How often in the past couple of years, until the tournament comes, do we even mention UConn? Have they even been mentioned? Nobody talks about them anymore. It's like, Gino's a bum now. No, he's not. He's still good.
I think that I think the thing with that, Chandler, to kind of go back and forth with you for a minute, like we just penciled UConn into the Final Four, the Elite Eight on the women's side, regardless. So, like, I don't think anybody's gonna ever say, you know what, F Gino, he's the bad coach, whatever case may be. But like, we expected this from UConn.
Yeah,
We expect this.
Not this year.
He
Not this year.
He doesn't get enough credit. The past few years, he's done an amazing job. The past few years.
I'll say this: if Paige Beckers was able to stay healthy this year, which she was, me personally, there was not a doubt in my mind that UConn women will be in the thick of things now. Now again,
South Carolina and UConn. So who's going to win? South Carolina and UConn. Who's going to win? South Carolina and UConn. Those are the only two teams everybody's talking about who's going to win. And it would have been an even money split. You know, it's kind of like when Pat Summerall hit.
We still didn't get that.
Who gonna win? Flip a coin.
Tennessee or UConn. Tennessee or UConn.
Yep. So I mean, and listen, Juju Watkins, USC played a great game. It worked out the way it was supposed to. You had the one who should have been, right? Mm-hmm. The queen uncrowned and the crown queen, right? Because Paige is never gonna get the flowers she should get because of the injuries.
Yeah.
Because all we said is if. You know, if David Thompson hadn't tore his knees up, you know what I'm saying? If, but it happened. So Paige Becker's college career is never going to be what we all know it could have been.
Right.
So that's why this is a good matchup, because storylines, right? Storylines. Mm-hmm. The one who should be in that seat, Caitlin, can you beat her? You know, and then we got the coaches. You know, listen, the Iowa coach is a pretty good coach now.
Yeah, she's
good. She is. Mm-hmm. You know, listen, I love NC State. I'm not giving them a chance in hell. All right? I'm not, and it's not even about the teams.
Yeah.
Dawn Staley is just a better damn coach than everybody she's run up against so far.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they play with their food, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season,
it's boredom.
That's a young team, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a young team, and it's a young. Most of those kids are freshmen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most of them are freshmen. They don't understand how hard this is, bruh. They don't know this ain't supposed to happen like this. You're supposed to go like a couple of years. You know, you lose in the first round, then you get the Elite Eight, you know, then you get the Final Four, then you get what is this? You know, you watch the timeouts, they're talking, dancing, don't stand with a she, and they're over there. Yeah,
right. Not the cabbage patch, Chandler. Not the cabbage
I know he did. He hit him with the cabbage patch.
You watch them all the time out. They doing everything but listening to her, and then they go out there and execute everything she said. That's a special thing there. So I think the South Carolina NC State game is going to be a good game till about 12 minutes left.
Yeah,
and then South Carolina gonna put their foot in their throat.
Yeah.
Iowa and UConn, somebody went at the buzzer. That's going down to the last tick. You know, you're going to have to hear the K sound, okay, for this to be over.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. It is really going to be good. But you know what? Don't bring up your injuries, LSU. I don't want to hear about foul calls, LSU. I don't want excuses, LSU. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear, oh, poor me, I'm a victim, Angel Reese, because everybody said this about me. Listen, when you came for her last year, you knew what you were inviting into your life. So miss me with your, I don't understand what people, you knew when you came for America's white sweetheart, you knew what was going to happen. Any black athlete, I don't care what gender you are, I don't care what pronouns you use. You can call yourself Mojo Jojo, okay? You go after an American sweetheart white athlete, boy next door, girl next door, whatever terminology they choose to use, because we all know that coded language.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're inviting into your life. They're coming for you, and it's going to be about the color of your skin, how you a thug, how you walking, how you dressing, how you talking, uneducated. They brought up your GPA as why you weren't in the Naismith conversation. They brought up your GPA. You invited this with this. When you did that, you invited it. When you start going to Instagram, oh, by the way, it's a grown woman having your ass and breasts out. You dress how you want. Okay? But when you sexualize yourself, and we know black young women are hypersexualized, okay? This goes back to slavery where they said, well, they're early bloomers, so it's okay to rape these children. Okay? You know what it is. When you invite this into your life, and you did, Angel Reese, you invited this. Miss me with the tears. Miss me with the, I don't understand. I'm just a person. Y'all sexualize me. You sexualize yourself. You put that stuff out there. You put those pictures out there. Your brand team said, hey, this is how we going to get your brand up. Okay? You don't want to talk about how your mama's a dime and you a dime too. You said that. Okay? You said that. That article in the LA Times was trash. Okay. And I'm not saying that any of the stuff that's come from her is right. I'm not saying it's right. But you know the world you live in. And if you invite goblins and ghosts into your home, don't then sit there and be like, well, how the hell we get these goblins and ghosts? You got to sign up and say goblins and ghosts welcome. Don't wonder why they got there. Okay, don't wonder. Again, is it right? No. But you ain't a damn victim. You played a part in this. Own your part.
So
I mean, you know,
hold on. I'm gonna let you go here in a second. But I wanted to say, you know, I wanted to jump in on that real quick before you guys run away with it. And my opinion about Angel Reese LSU is very, very similar to Chandler's. At the end of the day, you can't go outside in the rain and complain that you got wet. At the end of the day, you can't do that. And nothing that Angel Reese has experienced is correct by no stretch of the imagination. I don't ever want to blame. Okay, let me phrase it. I don't ever want to say that what she's experienced is right, because it is not. If you are sending death threats, or if you are inappropriately sexualizing, if you are making racial remarks and racial things, then you should be held accountable. But Judge Judy wrote this book back in the day. She says, don't pee on my leg and then try to convince me it's raining. At the end of the day, no other female in college basketball has been louder over the past calendar year than Angel Reese. Nobody else. We saw you doing the you can't see me thing. We saw you walking up to her and showing your ring finger and doing all the things. And let's not catch amnesia here. This LSU team has been the bully of college basketball and has been bullying the SEC for quite some time. Did we just forget what took place in the SEC championship game between South Carolina? You know what I'm saying? Did we forget what happened during the regular season versus South Carolina? With them coming to fisticuffs and Kim Mulkey saying her heinous stuff after the aftermath. So, yes, what LSU as a team and as players have experienced is bad. But they did some of this stuff to themselves. And to Chandler's point, and I'm sure Larry's going to say the same thing or somewhat similar, you have to take your pills and take your medicine. Because, again, to use Chandler's analogy, you can't sit there and invite ghosts and goblins into the crib and be upset that you're scared at night having nightmares. It is what it is. Villain, talk to me, guy.
I hear what you and Chandler are saying. And I agree with you to the extent that, you know, I don't want to say she invited it. I think she played into it. like LeBron played into being the villain when he went into Miami. I don't think she invited it, because you got to understand when she was coming for Caitlin Clark, her and LSU was already painted as the villain because they were going up against the White Hope. Let's keep it a buck. She was never going to be the darling in that situation. It was always going to be Caitlin Clark because she was the Great White Hope and LSU was a team of thugs. Are we forgetting that, we're talking about Howard Stern talking about nappy-headed hoes? Like, do we forget that narrative that already is painted on black females? Like, when a black female is cocky and arrogant, they're ghetto, right? That's the narrative, right? When an NBA, a male player is like that, oh, they're just confident, they're in their bag. But when a woman does it, they're cocky, arrogant thugs, nappy-headed hoes. We can go down the list. Why I push back on this is because, one, she's a kid. She's 21 years old. Okay,
21 ain't a kid. That's an adult.
She's a kid, Chandler. She's a kid. So if you had to go, stop for a minute. I want you to think about this for a minute, Chandler. I want you to think about what she's had to go through in a year. I understand a lot of it is self-inflicted wounds, but I'm like sifting through social media, and the things that they're calling this girl is out of this world. And it's not because
when she went to Caitlin Clark, she knew it was coming.
She did not invite this.
She did not know that she's black.
Chandler. She may have invited it, but she had no choice. She was always going to play this part. She was not going to be the darling.
She didn't have to do this then. You don't have to.
She has this, Chandler. She has this, Chandler. She was never going to be the darling. She was never going to be the. She was never going to be the. She was never going to be the hero in this whole saga.
You don't have to be the hero. Just win. You don't have to be.
She did.
Hero.
She earned the right to point to the ring. No, she won the game. No,
bruh.
When Steph Curry does it, when Steph Curry points to the ring, nobody gives a damn. When a girl does it, it's a problem, Chandler.
Steph Curry's light skin. Let a dark skinned brother have done that and see what happens. Miss me with that nonsense.
Draymond Green did it. Draymond Green did it. Now we're talking about the hue. We're talking about the hue of her skin. Yes, she's a black woman. Gary. Black women can't be cocky.
Had blonde hair, they would not be coming for her the way they're coming for her. And you know this.
Chandler, it's because she's a black female, Chandler.
Bruh, if she was light, bright, and damn near white, they would love her.
Exactly.
Not the light bright.
Exactly. You just answered my question.
Yes,
you just answered it.
She should know this. She's been in that skin for 20 years.
She hasn't been in this. She hasn't been in this situation, Chandler. Why can't she? Why can't she be arrogant?
We go through it every day of our life.
Be cocky and arrogant? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not a huge. I'm not an Angel Reese support. I'm not a fan of hers, right? I'm not a huge Angel Reese fan. But why can't I look at her and say she's earned the right to be cocky? She won a national championship. She's an SEC Player of the Year. Why can't she? Why can't she
complain about it? We know they don't like it. I don't give a damn if they don't like it. I ain't gonna complain about it.
Is it right that she can't sit in a hotel because she's got death threats? That's right, because she invited it. Yeah, I invited death threats because I'm black.
Bruh, we invite that every day. Bro, we invite that walking down the street and being in a car, in a nice car in a damn wrong neighborhood.
Does it make it right? Is it fair? Is it equal?
Miss me with the rose colored
glasses. Is it fair? Is it equal?
Miss me with that.
Nah,
you know damn well. Go get a Benz.
So she has to walk.
Go drive through some upper class neighborhood in Parsippany, New Jersey, and tell me you're not inviting death threats. Okay, come on, son.
Is it? But she can't be cocky.
You have to accept the reality of your situation, bro.
Okay, so then we live in a pretty bad world. That she can't be cocky, and I'm sitting here. I'm going through social media, which I probably should take a break from because the shit.
Tell me something we don't already know. The world is terrible. Newsflash: the world is terrible and racist. Newsflash. The only people who didn't know that was Angel Reese. Come on, man.
But so she can't be who she wants to be?
You can be whatever you want. Just accept what comes with it.
She's got a tap dance.
No,
she's got a tap dance.
What comes with it and don't whine about it.
I don't think she was whining about it. I think it's been a tough. Oh, okay. All right. We're good. I'm good.
You sure?
No, I'm good. I mean, honestly, like, she can't tell her truth, and she can't be a symbol for these young black kids like my daughter that would see this and understand that it's not right to be ridiculed. It's not right to have death threats. It's not right to be called everything. Like, I'm literally going through this with my son in school.
Yes.
I'm going through something very. Hang on, Chandler. Hang on a second. Chandler.
Let him work.
Pause for a second. I'm being serious. I'm going through this same. Hold on, Chandler. Hold on. I'm going through the same thing with my son in school. With this, with. I'm not going to get into details, but I have to explain to my 11-year-old son that this is the world we live in, and it's not right. It's not fair.
No,
it's not equal. And like it's a shitty conversation to have with an 11-year-old kid or my daughter who's 7 years old that I got to explain to her what's happening to her brother. You understand what I'm saying? So
yes, I do.
I understand if she
bro. I do understand it. I had to have that conversation. Somebody had to tell me how the world worked, man. I've been through everything she's been through, bro. I was in service when it was still racist as hell, man.
I get it, Chandler. I understand that. But why can't she be emotional about it like you're emotional about it right now?
Because you know what? You know when you want to cry about it, you can talk about it, but you can't sit up there and be a victim. She was playing a victim. There's a difference in sitting up there and saying, listen, y'all come for me, that's some bullshit, y'all some racist assholes. Fuck you, then sit up there crying and playing the victim. There's a difference. She was playing victim. That's my problem.
I don't see that as playing the victim. I see it as being emotional about a tough year. That's how I looked at it. I mean, I don't think she was looking for.
She was looking for sympathy.
I honestly don't think so. Honestly, if you listen to the whole clip, and I'll let everybody else cook on this, like, she didn't bring it up. Her teammate brought it up, and then she had to chime in on it. She had no intention of bringing it up. It was what's the guard's name?
Flowjay Johnson.
Yeah, she brought it up. And then Angel Reese had to answer the questions about it. So I don't think she went up to that press conference looking for sympathy and playing the victim card. That's just my opinion. But I'll let everybody else chime in.
You know, Larry, I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about it. You know, I said a little bit of what I had to say. Obviously, Chandler and Villain see things differently.
Obviously. Yeah. I love Uncle Chandler, though.
Steve shows he wanted to sit this one out, man. So, Larry, talk to me. Like, how do you feel about this whole situation with Angel Reese and LSU and the kind of villain persona that they've carried over the past calendar year?
I mean, I'm gonna just say, man, I love both y'all boys, man. I love when people passionate about stuff, man. I love y'all say what y'all want to say. I'm gonna put it like this, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck, like y'all say. And each time we say we're gonna keep it 100. Whatever happened to taking the high road? I'm not saying that she was playing victim, but she played into playing the victim because Flowjay did bring it up, and she played into it, right? And I'll go even further. I don't condone the death threats. And did she, play into the sexism a little bit because she did post those pictures? And I saw them. Those were professional pictures. Those wasn't like somebody randomly shot you while you out and about or something like that. This wasn't a a Shay Shay incident where somebody caught you with your man purse or something. No, this was you. You had a photographer make those pictures. But I'll put some of this back on Kim Mulkey. Kim Mulkey, you're the adult. You know, you see this with Dawn Staley's team. Dawn Staley, she would have told y'all, shut the hell up. Y'all don't make no comments about this stuff. Y'all leave it on the court, and I'll answer these questions for you. Kim Mulkey actually, she insinuated a lot of this stuff when she was talking about, oh, if that would have been Angel Reese, what would have happened? You know, so I put a lot of that on Kim Mulkey because you're the adult in the room. Really, when you're talking about these 21-year-old kids, you're the adult in the room. They go to college to learn how to be adults, and by you being a coach, you need to be the adult and show them. Even though they may label you as thugs and they may label you as, you know, ghetto girls and stuff like that, you know what you do? You show up in a room with your PhD and you know, educate them on some things. You take the high road. And like I said, you know, we're talking, you know, as being Black people, you always have to take the high road when it comes to stuff, regardless of how people label you, how they perceive you. You know, you have to take the high road. And that's something that Kim Mulkey should have been teaching them, to take the high road. Now, I will chime in and say this too. I play sports, and I always feel like it was a difference between me being passionate about something, you know, me celebrating with my teammates. I'll be honest with you guys. I grew up in that Bernard Hopkins era. When I used to play basketball, to my teammates, and not to the fans, not to my opponents, I would do the executioner. I would give them the X. But this was to my teammates. I wasn't taunting my opponent by putting a ring in their face and doing all this stuff. So when you do that, regardless, I don't think it's I know that it has something to do with Caitlin Clark being who she was, but when you do those things, then now you incite these fans that don't know how to not take it too far. They don't look at your age and, you know, where you from and stuff like that. They'll take it too far. But when you do those things, then now you invite it. But then you want to, I think, like I said, I'm not saying that she was trying to play the victim, but she played into it. But then I'll go even further with you guys. And I'm going to put something that you guys probably didn't think about. You brought the crown to the freaking game and you playing into this stuff. But then I would have loved it as you probably went into the game, you thought you was going to win. You could fly it around. You probably would have had the crown on your head if you'd have won the game. You could have went and gave it to Caitlin Clark. Y'all could have really embraced each other after the game. If you saw Angel Reese after the game, her and Caitlin Clark was like, get it out of my face. Moving on. It wasn't a embrace like, hey, I love the matchup. Hey, you know, I may have said some bad things. I may have taunted you before. It wasn't an embrace. It was more of an embrace between Kim Mulkey and Caitlin Clark than it was between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. They was just like, blow it off, get out of my face. So now I feel like, man, you don't have that sportsmanship, but then now you want to be, oh, I'm the victim. And I'll even go even further with you guys. I don't know if you guys watch some of these things that they've been doing all season. It's like Flau'jae, oh, yeah, I rap too. Mm-hmm. Oh, Angel Reese come out saying, oh, I'm going to be good regardless. Do you know, and I hate to do those comparisons because I feel like people are different. Look at DJ Burns. DJ Burns does all kinds of antics on the court. People are in love with him right now. He didn't have to go and tell people, oh, I'm going to be good. My money's good. This dude, they literally had to find a report that he owns vending machines. They're literally talking about his draft stock. He might get drafted in the NFL. He's not, oh, I'm going to be good. I'm this and this. You know, and he's a male, and we expect that stuff from men, but he's like the big, lovable guy that everybody wants to see. He does antics too, but he doesn't do antics to taunt his opponent or demean his opponent. Like, even after the game, him and Kyle, they was like, you know, good game, bro, you know, whatever. And it wasn't, that's a heated rivalry. That's a heated rivalry, but it wasn't, I just don't get the same feel from LSU that I feel like as Black women, and you already been labeled like that, then you have to prove them wrong. You have to show them that, you know, even though you might characterize me this way, you got to do better. And I think Kim Mulkey, I mean, I hate to say it like that, I'll go there. Me and Steve, we're from Texas. Kim Mulkey's from Louisiana. I don't expect nothing from her to teach Black women how to conduct themselves as educated Black women. as you guys are in college. Like if you guys are gonna be degreed women, and you're carrying yourselves like y'all are, from the hood or something. I mean, I'm not saying from the hood, but y'all acting like y'all in the hood. But and I think that's what a lot of this stuff come down to. And when you look at other coaches, even Gino has had black players. They probably dealt with all kinds of stuff because they're winning multiple championships. And Gino probably told them, hey, look, ladies, get on the court, win championships. No matter what they say about you, they only call you champion, as they can call you. You go get your degree, you go to the WNBA, you do this. It's one of them things where I feel like a lot of this go back to Kim Mulkey, but then at the same time, man, y'all are black women. Y'all got to do better too. Y'all gotta not feed into that. Oh, we nappy headed hoes. I'll say that because you prove people wrong that you're not a nappy headed hoe by showing them that you're not a nappy headed hoe. And I'm gonna wrap it up. Chandler, I love everything you said, Chandler, man, because Chandler went in it. I get Barry's perspective on it. I just look at it from a different lens. I look at it from that lens where you always gotta, like, no matter what people say about you, you gotta prove them wrong. You got to. Yeah. You got to do better.
Yeah. Steve, talk to me, man. You hear the conversation that's going on right now, man. I love it. This what the ballroom is about. You know what I'm saying? I love the passion. I love it all, man. Steve, talk to me, my guy.
All right. Let me tell you some things that Angel Reese isn't. She isn't a thug. She isn't a dirty debutante like my man in that awful piece, called her. Let me tell you what she is. She's a young lady who's a fierce competitor, who goes out there, and competes at a high level. SEC Player of the Year, national champion, things that the other young lady, aspires to be. And if you want the crown, you got to knock it off the king's or queen's head in this case. And that happened last night. It was a wonderful game. And then you have all the other stuff, and then you have Hailey Van Lith, who has to act like the bridge between white America and Angel Reese. It's like, so what do you think, Hailey? And she's like, well, I mean, Angel's fine, and then you have her teammates come into her defense, and that's huge. It's not like, oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah, she was doing all that, and I don't really care about all that. It's like, no, you see her teammates coming to her defense. Her coach is eerily quiet, radio silent, just kind of like, it's okay when they're winning, but then when they lose, it's like, oh, well, I don't approve of that, conduct and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, miss me with that, but it's funny how, again, like Barry said it, like black women have to be docile. They can't be, boisterous. They can't puff their chests out. They have to oh, well, just little old me. It's like, oh, it's just you get forced to have to bow down or kind of downplay your ability to make somebody else feel better. Believe the term I want to use is white fragility. It's like we can't upset the people because it's like, oh, well, you're good at you're good at basketball too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's I mean, Jill Biden, invited both teams to the White House. It's like, in what universe does in any other situation does another okay, let's invite, the Rangers won the World Series. Let's invite the D-backs too because they played hard. It's stuff like that is just well, both teams played so hard, and I just feel so sad for the other team. Let's invite them too. But again, that's where it comes. But like I said, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time with this because you guys have said everything and covered just about everything. But I just want to put that out there the way it's just look, this is something that we have to deal with. And I feel like as a black man, I am a protector of black women. As a black man, I will protect black women at any chance I get a chance to. But Angel Reese, you pose for the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and you say, oh, well, they sexualizing me. You post all this stuff on Instagram, and they sexualizing me. And she's doing a little bit of throwing a rock and hiding her hand. But at the end of the day, it's like Barry said, she shouldn't have to deal with the negative stuff, the nasty stuff, the posts, the threats. She shouldn't have to deal with that. You know, it's just like it is commonplace. That doesn't mean it's right. Just because we expect it doesn't mean it's right. And that's my whole thing. And it's funny how my last point is, you know, she is 21 years old. Like I said, she is a kid, but she has to, when things happen, she has to be an adult. She has to be mature. You know, and sometimes, like I remember Ryan Lochte at the Olympics. He lied about getting robbed at gunpoint, stuff like that. And Billy Bush went on national television, worldwide television, and said, oh, well, he's just a kid. At the big age of like 26 years old, oh, he's just a kid. But Angel Reese has to be a grown adult woman at 21. Just something I want to put out there for
Let me say something real quick.
Hey, Steve, let me jump in right quick. Hold
on a second.
Yeah,
talk, Chandler.
I'm older than all of y'all. I was born in the 60s. I'm from Brooklyn, and I got bused to school because I needed to integrate a predominantly white school in Trump Village, rather, out there in Coney Island. Okay? I was taught at a very early age, okay, that shit ain't gonna be fair. That the color of my skin has consequences. That being born black in this country means that the board is tilted against me. It don't mean I can't win. It means that I just need to understand that the game is rigged. And I need to succeed anyway. I have to succeed anyway. It ain't right. And it's hard. And yeah, I have to be more mature than somebody else of another skin color at an earlier age. Okay. That's just how it works. That's just how it is.
Well, I mean, that's what I said.
That's how it is.
It's a double standard.
That doesn't mean it's right.
It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's right. It's just it's something that we've accepted. That don't mean that it's right. You know? No,
it doesn't make it right, but it doesn't mean I can't feel bad about it. It doesn't mean that I don't cry, but I haven't cried over it, but I'm not gonna let you see me cry. I am not gonna give you that satisfaction. Okay? For those people that have other skin color, you will never see me break. My family might, my loved ones might, you won't. That is my problem. That is my problem. We know what the deal is. We know we have to be better, younger, faster, stronger. We all know this. Or we're supposed to know it anyway. We're supposed to know it. Because hopefully somebody told us that at a very young age and taught us that. Okay? And supported us when nobody else would. Which again, Barry, is going back to the conversation that you have to have with your children. Right? The conversations that were had with you, right?
All of them.
Conversations that were had with you, you now have to have. And that shit sucks. Right? Because you hope that it'll be better for your kids. You hope to be better for your kids.
Yeah. You hope that what you went through in Coney Island and what my parents went through, my mother went through in Virginia, and my dad went through up here, I wouldn't have to go through, and then I wouldn't have to talk to my kids. I had to talk to all three of my kids about it that don't understand it. So I agree. I hear you, Chen. I agree with you.
I'm not.
My thing is, I'm sorry to step on you guys. I apologize. I really do. Is I just don't want to accept it that has to be the norm now. Like that has to be the norm going forward. I want it to push forward. I want it to break through, right? That glass ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, and I want to be able to say, like, you know, people like Caitlin Clark and my daughter was probably going to end up just like her. Because she just, if anybody knows my daughter, Chandler knows my daughter ain't no joke. So, like, she going to be like Angel Reese, and I hope she doesn't have to go through what she's going through. She doesn't have to accept that, you know. But the reality is, like, I was taught at a young age, man. You got the four corners from going back to 1800s, man. White male, white female, black male, and black female. Black females underneath all of them. You know what I mean?
The strongest one. But the strongest
but the one holding everybody up. You understand what I'm saying? So.
Yeah,
I think the thing is, gentlemen, and we can wrap this up pretty quickly. I think that Larry hit the nail on the head. Mm-hmm. There was no coaching, there was no guidance. I think
that's the thing that I think Sirius bothers me the most about Mulkey,
Yeah.
because she tried to. Because remember, we talked about it when she suspended her earlier this year, right? And she was, you know, quote unquote AWOL, right?
Yeah.
And here we are, like, and her Mulkey's track record goes back,
Yeah.
right? It goes a long way back, and I think that hit piece that came on the LA Times and the Washington Post, what have you, is kind of justified, and she could have got out in front of it, but
the dude got 3 policies.
She put herself in these situations, right?
The dude got 3 policies. You think he risked his reputation behind Kim Mulkey?
Here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. They're like in the pantheon of women's college basketball or college sports in general. It is predominantly dominated by African Americans. Period. Like, we own the sport. How come this particular situation seems to only be happening right now to LSU? You mean to tell me South Carolina ain't going nowhere? And hearing all this and doing all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Cardoza is a very attractive young woman. She ain't sexualized and doing all this other type of stuff. So I think this boils down to Mulkey and Angel Reese not being self-aware enough to understand, yo, I'm an attractive woman. If I put these pictures online, I might get sexualized. Some dude may go into a corner and handle his business. I may get death threats because I wave my "you can't see me" hand and put my ring in front of the White Hope, as we call her. Like, where was the education? Where was the where was the check? Where was the something? Like, I have mixed babies. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have 2 mixed babies. I'm having these conversations with my 4-year-old now. The world doesn't give a flying F about your Caucasian mom. You are a black man in America right now.
That's
this
exactly
is how we
what
have to move.
That's exactly what I said to my oldest. Like, you know, you have a white mother, but the world don't give a damn. You still look black. Yeah, I don't care how light your hue is. You still look black.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, I agree with you, and I don't think it's. I think it's where's the protection from where's the. It's not looking out for her and saying, "Hey, you don't need to be doing this." When she's up there crying, where is she? Where's your coach?
Where's Mulkey? Where's the coach?
Yeah, like, been eerily silent. Like, I mean, but
yeah,
I don't think anybody who knows how Kim Mulkey gets down is shocked that she's all of a sudden mums the word when it comes to protecting her player, because she did it at Baylor. She, like, you know, she threw, you know, Brittany Griner, a player who contributed a lot to her success at Baylor. You know, it's like everybody's like, "Oh, free BG, get her out that gym." And Kim Mulkey was like, "Well, I mean, I don't know, and I don't know enough about the situation to comment on it."
And instead of protecting your player, especially in that SEC tournament game, you inciting the flame by saying, "Oh, I wish you had done it to her," because Angel Reese, a thug, she handle the shit kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? Instead of protecting your girl. That's all I got to say on that.
Yo, I'm gonna put it like this, man. We all got social media. Kim Mulkey, you could put a policy in place. Look, y'all turn the comments off. You could post whatever you want. Turn the comments off. Kim Mulkey, look, I'm gonna talk to Villain for a second. Villain, we just talked about Dan Hurley coaching his players hard. He got black players. If one of his black players would have did this to an opponent, dude, if he did this to an opponent, he'd have been like, "Timeout. Get your ass out the game." He literally pulled somebody for scoring on a 30-point blowout when he told him don't score. He'd be like, "Get your ass out the game. I don't give a damn who you are." I'm gonna put it like this, dude. And it's just me. This is the sports player in me coming out now, right? I'm gonna tell you guys a true story, and I got people to back it up, right? And I told you, I used to do the X, and I would do it with my teammates, and I would do it coming down the court. And I literally had a guy. Because I feel like at some point I respect my opponent, because these are my opponents. They playing just as hard as I do. I had a guy who I literally blocked his shot, and he told me, "Next time I come, I'm gonna dunk on your ass." And I said, "You know what? You're gonna find your dick in the dirt." Because at that point, you are insulting me as another player, And I feel like that's where you go too far. And I think that's where Kim Mulkey should have stepped in and said, hey, look, you don't do that. You don't do that, period. She should have been the one, like, I'm going to just put it like this. Any of those South Carolina players, when you see them being interviewed, you know what they talk about? The game. Mm-hmm. Nothing more, nothing less. The game. When you see even Gino had, Maya Moore used to be doing all kinds of stuff. You know, she's out there balling her butt off. And, like, Gino's had black players, but you know what they talk about after the game? The game. The game. Point blank. Gino probably has it. Look, y'all ladies, you can voice your opinions in the locker room, but once you're in front of them cameras, you talk about the game. Because now,
because that's the difference. That's the difference.
That door, you know,
because you know, Caitlin Clark, and I'll leave it at this, is just as cocky, just as arrogant on the court. Let's everybody be clear about that. Oh, yeah. She's just as cocky. She dishes it out just as much, you know, flashing all that stuff as a cocky, arrogant player. But when the cameras are when the mic is in her mouth or in her face, what does she say?
You know what? I'm not coming to the fist of Caitlin Clark, but if you watch Caitlin Clark, she's not in Angel Reese's face. She's not taunting him. She's pumping the crowd up. She's pumping the crowd up, and she's
cocky. She's cocky.
She's cocky from that standpoint. But I feel like when you play in sports, and now you're getting to the point where you're taunting your opponent, you're teasing them, you're demeaning them, then now you're inviting all the stuff that come along with that. You know, it's like Draymond. Draymond, you inviting all the stuff in, man. You do that. So you can't go crying because you invited all this stuff in. You can't do it. I mean,
that guy.
But I think at the end of the day, Kim Mulkey, you done been down this road. You done been through, you know, all of the ins and outs. But this is where you should have been teaching them young women how to conduct themselves appropriate. I'm not even gonna say black women. You should be the one teaching them how to conduct themselves as educated women.
I think the thing is when the SEC fight took place, you could tell how Dawn Staley conducts her business and how Kim Mulkey conducts her business. And you know what I'm saying? And so when the players and Dawn Staley came to the mic, it was about the game. It was about, you know what, we got to do. And Dawn Staley, I got to do better. We got to do better. It's to transform our game. Kim Mulkey came to the microphone. You know, this happened and that happened. I wish you would have won at Angel Reese. You shouldn't have did that and this, that, and the third. Like, there was no. I work in mental health, right? Okay, I am a social worker. One of the major things that we teach our clients is to be able to accept responsibility for your actions and eat your crap. If you do something, if you make a mistake, own it, move on. Do not compound the issue by making up a bunch of excuses or pointing the finger or this, that, and the third. And Kim Mulkey, that's all she did all year. She pointed the finger and this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third. So what happens is it's a trickle-down effect because now you got your players doing this, that, and the third and pointing the fingers and, you know what, I'm sexualized and this, that, and the third and blah, blah, blah. Oh, like she put the pictures on there. She hit send.
You go to college to mold young minds, and she's molding them in a negative way.
Yeah.
What part did you play? What part did you play? That's what they say in any therapy session, any group ever. They're gonna say, "What part did you play?" Because in every situation, positive and negative, you play a part.
You play a part.
I played a part. I played a part. Now, stuff happens when you're a kid. Obviously, you're a child. Okay, but as an adult, right? When you are making decisions, making choices, not mistakes, choices. What part did you play in the situation? And if I had heard Angel Reese accept any responsibility, right, and say, you know what, maybe there's some things I could have done differently, but I certainly didn't deserve this, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the first one in front of her.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? But until you will accept the part you played in this, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you.
Yeah. I mean, one person even said it on ESPN, we can tie it up. Like, I wish it was just about ball.
Yeah.
I wish it was about the 17 and 20 she had last night. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if they were criticizing her and shit, like on what she was doing on the court, then we could talk. But
Because, like I say, it's other coaches that got black players, and they're not doing all those antics, and they not, feeding into all this other stuff. And you know, I hate to say it like that. Even like Flo J. Remember, I said it on this show. Flo J started that fight. She started that fight from the jump.
Yep. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Then you on here talking about, oh, I'm a rap artist, and y'all are making everything else about other things besides balling. And your coach is you the adult in the room, and you didn't say y'all shut the hell up. I'm gonna answer all the questions about all the other stuff. If they calling y'all nephews and all the stuff, y'all talk about balling.
She could care less.
No,
she could care less. She don't care about these girls, man.
Yeah, as long as they put.
I don't know see Juju Watkins acting like that.
Yeah, I don't know her personally, but I'm gonna just say, man, at the end of the day, and I don't want to sound like that guy, but at the end of the day, man, she's a white girl from Louisiana. Rural Louisiana. Steve, chime in if you want to, bro. But I'm gonna just say that and she's shown that she's a white girl from rural Louisiana.
And I feel like she may care about her players, but like I feel like she won't go above and beyond, man.
Well, here's the thing. I can't even say that. You know what I'm saying? I can't even say she cares about her players, because in order to actually care about your players, you have to give a damn enough to assist them and guide them through everything, including basketball. Like, this is life.
Right.
This, your whole squad, 90% of your squad are African-American females. How can you say you care if you haven't even educated yourself on how to protect and serve Angel Reese? She's more than you. She's more than you than just a basketball player.
Nope.
That's what I think she is. That's what I think she thinks she is.
No, she's better. And the only reason she cared about academics, because if she's not making the grade,
she can't play. She can't play.
Right. Because I know a lot of players from UConn that still would go back to Gino and get advice and get, you know what I mean? There's a lot of players in a lot of different programs that go back to their college coach. You know, Michael Jordan talked to Dean Smith all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's different, man. It's different.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna put something on your brain. So I've seen where it's like an incident or something, and Gino's walked on the court. Did y'all watch the fight? Kim Mulkey was like, "I'm fit to sit back and I'm going to watch y'all fight." She did not go on the court. She sit back there and was like, "I'm fit to sit back and watch y'all fight."
Angel Reese walked the opposite direction.
Yes. But Kim Mulkey didn't go running on the court like, "Oh, let me break this fight up." She was like, "No, I'm about to sit back and watch y'all fight."
Yeah, Kim was like, "Oh man, Angel, why you ain't get in there?"
Yeah.
You know, instead of like, Angel Reese for walking away from there, she was like, "Oh, Angel, you should have got in there and got some. You gonna let Cardoso?" It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Kim Mulkey is from that school of coaches that care about their players as players only. It's not their job to teach them a damn thing on the court, on the field, right? It ain't their job to teach them nothing about life. It's their job to keep them eligible to play and to win. And once you can't help me do that, I got nothing for you.
Right. It's that difference between like I don't want to say like a Bill Belichick. I don't want to say that, but like a regular coach and then like a Dick Vermeil. Like you could tell like a Dick Vermeil cared. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's a difference. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Yeah. With that being said, gentlemen, I'm gonna get you guys out of here. We went a little bit over today, but I wanted to
little bit because Uncle Chandler gave me the business today. He was preaching on me.
I didn't mean to do that, man. That's about what she did. It pushed the button. I ain't gonna lie. Push the button.
He brought the fire and brimstone. He said church was almost over, and like an hour later, we still
here. With that being said,
we're
man,
gonna play it back for him because he's gonna be apologizing to you tomorrow. Like, what are you talking about?
Chandler, no, like, listen, I can take it. Me and Chandler yell and go back and forth, but it's all because it's passion, man. We love what we do. We like talking about it, man. I would miss it if I couldn't go back and forth. With
me and Sirius was ready to meet to fight one time.
We were. I ain't gonna hold you. I was coming up.
Yeah, we was gonna meet up and fight.
That's it.
I ain't meeting nobody nowhere. I'm tired. I ain't going.
Yeah, be immaculate. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Larry, thanks for coming by and kicking with us, man. Give us a plug and a close out and shut it down, my guy.
Hey man, I love everything we did tonight, man. Hey, even Unc, man, I'm glad you're back, Unc, man. Love the energy, man. Like I said, man, we need that. Definitely. I hope everything's working out well with issues you got going on. But I did want to just drop this on y'all real quick about life. Man. Life is real funny to where you have a guy like Ronell Blanco who literally barely made the team. They thought he was going to go back to AAA. He comes in. And his first game of the season throws a no-hitter. And then you have somebody like Garrett Stubbs, who's backing up the catcher in Philly, comes in, and the first batter of the season hits him in the nuts.
Obviously, people don't understand. Like, they think it's personal.
Look it up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's just funny how life is. But, yeah, I just wanted to drop that on y'all. And like I say, definitely always a pleasure hanging out with the fellas, with the crew today.
Yes, sir.
Right. I'm out.
Thank you so much, Larry, man. Steve, man, thanks for coming by, kicking with us, my guy. You know what to do. Give us the plug and close up and shut it down, my homie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as I say every week, love talking sports with people who love sports, the passion, the banter, the back and forth. I love this. I mean, this is great. I mean, it's like, again, I don't like arguing. I don't argue with nobody, so it's like, but debate, healthy conversations. Sometimes conversations get heated. No, I love that. I love what we're doing. The view from the boardroom is always a beautiful view. I do want to say one thing. We was talking about race and black and stuff like that. And Saturday, the Cincinnati Cyclones hockey team, they're like a mid-level hockey team. They did something very cool. For the first time, I guess, in hockey history, their starting 5 skaters were all black men.
All black men.
Yep.
So that was really cool. And they won. They won 3-2 in overtime. So big ups to the Cincinnati Cyclones, for making history over the weekend. They won. The NHL has tried their damnedest to be more diverse. Some of the fans and honestly, some of the players on some of the teams not really rocking with it. But I do commend the NHL and hockey as a whole for trying to be more diverse. So I just want to throw that out there. Like, big ups to the Cyclones for making history Saturday night, and they brought home a dub. So you already know how I'm gonna do it. God is good
all the time.
Water is life. Make sure you stay hydrated out there. And of course, I'm gonna need y'all to get y'all dubs up because y'all already know Wu-Tang. See y'all good boys next week. All right.
All right, Steve, man. Good to see you, my guy. Chandler, you know what to do, my guy. Give us a plug in the close out and shut it down, sir.
Man, this was like old times, man.
Yes, sir.
Over like 1 a.m, yelling at each other. For those that are relatively new to us, we can the beauty of sports debate and healthy debate is we don't have to agree. We can yell, but at the end of the day, we have to respect and then listen and then come back with something that says, you know what, I heard you. I heard you. And that's the beauty of what we do is we all can do that with each other. Yeah. We can get mad at each other. we can get you. But at some point in the conversation, somebody will say, I heard you. I heard what you said. And that's all it takes to foster things going forward, to make a better life for Barry's kids, right. For Sirius's kids. Yeah. I heard you. Ain't that hard to listen. That's all I got tonight, fellas.
Thank you so much, Chandler. Good to see you back in the building, my guy, man. Looking forward to doing more shows with you. He didn't drop his military joint, but again, man, 22 veterans kill themselves every day, man. They have so many different avenues and different things that they're doing. So definitely, he always says it best, man. Say yes to life. So shout out to Chandler and those military men and women that are struggling the silent fight. Villain, that's what we do, my guy, man. That's why we start this thing, man. Talk to me, my guy. Give us a plug in the close up and shut it down.
I love it, man. It's always a healthy debate. It's always love, man. I never take it personal. We always got our opinions and everything. And as long as you can, listen, like Chandler said, and understand what the other person is talking about, but then come back and, it's all good the next day. I put my head to the pillow and wake up, God willing, the next day and everything's good. So, but yeah, man, just hug on your loved ones, man. You know,
Yeah.
shout out to rest in peace to Vontae Davis, man. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's
35 years old. So, you know, you never know the hour, you know, the Lord is going to knock on your door and come for you. So be prepared, be ready, but love on everybody while they're here. Just understand their differences, understand what they go through, and love them anyway. That's the challenge. That's the beauty of life. So I love what we do here. It's a great show. It's a great format. I'm just, it always gets me excited. The juice is always flowing. I love doing the show with you, serious. We're doing big things. I will not be around next Tuesday, so Chandler can sit in my spot and yell and scream. I will be on vacation with the family. So I hope y'all have a good show. But so I just want you guys to know that I'm not ducking because I got in an argument. I'll be in Virginia Beach with my family. So spring break, you know. So,
that's awesome, dude.
But love it. Love you guys, man. Chandler, holla at me, brother.
All right, man. Yo, man, it's your boy Serious repping out 412 and the 703, man. Again, it's such a privilege and a pleasure to be able to do this every week with these guys, man. Again, what you heard here tonight is literally the total emphasis of what we do. We are 5, sometimes 6 very opinionated men who just go. I will say this though, man. Shout out to everybody from rocking with us, man. From everybody on our social media platform. Shout out to my good friends over at Nonsense and Deep Thoughts. You saw a couple of them in the comments. My man Jared, you know, Aaron, Corey, and those guys, man. Looking forward to linking out with you guys later on down the road. Also, shout out to my man Brian, my homie Rob, my wife, and all the guys. They got themselves a business helping out veterans called DW250. So again, to put the partner on with Chandler, likes to say, man, if you're a veteran that is, you know, trying to get your percentages and things of that nature, this company that I'm very much connected to kind of helps veterans get their percentages or whatever the case may be. So if you need any more information about that, don't hesitate to let me know. With that being said, man, it's such a pleasure to do this, man. Lord willing, I'll be back in the building next week. God bless. Catch you on the next one.